Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I was just sitting here enjoying my book, reading a few things, eating my Domino's special pizza. Welcome to Valentine's Day stream. How's it going, everybody? Hello. Thank you for coming by yet another one of my, I guess you'd say, boring streams. So I've got a couple of things to plan for us today. Let me flip back out of this. I've got just a little thing to show off here. It'll take not too long at all, and then after that, it's going to be all kind of questions and answers and just hanging out together. But yeah, I'm excited. I've got this room decorated for Valentine's. I will tear this apart and decorate. What's the next holiday? There really isn't many holidays that I care about until Halloween. So I'm not sure what will be the next thing, but I'll do something with this. So hello to everybody. I see there's already a bunch of people there. I appreciate you coming by and hanging out today. Hopefully you stay around with us and listen to my stories and tales as I answer questions. And we have ourselves a little Valentine's surprise. But for my question, what is your real name, Draven? I know you said it before on some video. My real name is Kirk. K-I-R-K. Oh, I also decorated out here. A little Valentine's love out here. The colored banners is something I meant to do from the very beginning. But I finally went, hey, settle down. I'm not teleporting yet. Calm down. But yes, went in and put some little hearts up for Valentine's Day. I can change the banners to different colors and stuff. But yeah, got a bunch of little, the portal cubes. Yeah, they're called heart blocks here. So I thought they were very, very fitting. I like them a lot. Got my aquarium fixed. That's my walrus. Yeah, just kind of hanging out here in my living room, watching some tunes, reading my tales, that kind of thing. Hello, Bragg. All right, so let me go here and get my armor on because I don't have my armor with me. Let me get dressed. There we go. See. Much better. Now I'm armored to the teeth. Really, I mean, you can't see my teeth. Look how armored it is. All right, let's go ahead and add away. Don't need any Domino's pizza for right now. Why should I say that? I always need pizza. What pack are we playing? Well, today we're just going to be doing a little bit of Sky Factory 4, and then I'm going to kind of tear it down, and we're just going to kind of hang out and have an AMA today. I did this a few weeks ago, and people seem to really enjoy it, so we're going to do that again. Today, the Valentine's thing I've been working on for a few days is in Sky Factory 4. So I want to say this. What I've made will either look really cool, really lame, or I'll destroy my game. I'll destroy my world. I haven't sure. It may crash. It may crash. I'm not sure yet. So we'll see. Question, can you play your mod pack called Into the Randoms? Yeah, throw it on the suggestion thing so I remember it. Horrible memory on the stream. I'm going to be doing test drives again in probably in a month or so, and then I'll jump in and take a look at that. Yeah, we'll put that in the test drive. I have no problem with that at all. I just went into the wrong cake. Oh, no. Angry at myself. All right, now we're going to go to the Lost Cities. So what we're doing today, if something happens, it won't crash my computer. It'll just crash the game. And I have a backup saved just in case. So, again, this is only going to take a few minutes, but it's something I've been working on for a little while, so hopefully you like it. Now, this is not it. This is where we were doing our testing for New Year's. Remember, it blew a big chunk out of that. What do the cakes taste like? Heaven, actually. The overworld cake probably tastes a lot like dirt and grass, I would think. It's funky. All right, so let's see. Go over here. Valentine's. All right. So here we are for Valentine's Day. This is Valentine's. This is my Valentine's surprise, right? But yes, this is it. Yeah, play a few times. Teddy bears and hearts. Hey, there you go. Well played. Well played. Good way to do it. Now that dome. Wait, which dome? This is the dome. I forget. Let me check. Okay, yeah, this is the dome. I was looking at the wrong one. This is the dome. Yes. Do I show it tonight at 12 or tomorrow before we do movie night? I guess that would be, you do it right at midnight. It's like showing it right off the bat. I like that, as long as it's not going to keep her up or anything like that. Have I fixed my PC yet? Yes, I believe that I have. So it appears that for some reason, when Windows does updates on my computer, the updates don't work half the time. And I have to remove them and re-put them in a couple of times before they'll finally take it correctly. And once they do, the problems are fine. there they go away. Like yesterday, there was another one when I first got on, and I could play games and go online, but I couldn't open up any File Explorer folder. So I had to go into recovery mode, go back to a previous save, remove the old windows to get it to work again. So it's that seems to be the source of it. It's not really a hardware problem. Something on my PC is having a hard time doing the updates. So whenever I do an update, I have to jump in and test everything to see if it worked or if I need to take the update out and try it again. So not exactly sure what's causing it, but so far, yes, since I've got that fix and we narrowed down that was the issue, I haven't had any long-term problems since. Timora, exactly. You hit it right at midnight. It's like the first thing you think of Valentine's is that person. So, oh yeah. So, again, this is not going to be long. I kind of hope it looks cool, but we're gonna see. Okay. With no further ado, let's go ahead and look at our Valentine's surprise. Whoop! Fell off the world. Good day, Retinoid. Hello. About to show off our Valentine's surprise. If this works. Can we do a test run into the randoms? Okay. So, I know that the vision's a little blurred by this, but I felt it was important to have this. I'm a little nervous about this. I had no way of testing this, so I don't even know if it's going to work. And if it doesn't, I will manually have to do it, and it won't look as cool, but it'll still work. Okay, we ready? All right, Valentine's Day. Come on, one of these things hopefully work. Uh-oh. They may not be working. Uh-oh. Dang it. I was afraid that was going to happen. Boo. All right, well, fortunately, not work like I was hoping. So I apologize. I'm going to have to fix it. Okay, Rose. It's going to take me a minute anyway, so hold on. Give me a minute here. Let me fix. Breaking. Obsidian. Very, very delayed. It's okay. I knew there was a chance this would happen. I set this up. There was a chance. Oh, God! I wasn't close enough. Hold on a minute. Oh, good Lord. Hold on. Hold on. Gotta get out of here. Gotta get out of here. Ooh. Back. Everything went away. Everything is lagging. What I've done is I think more than the game can handle. My block is missing. Can I get back in? Is it too late for me? Oh, I'm in. Okay, I've reloaded it. This may take a... I don't... Let's just say when I got in there, things were moving. This should have been instantaneous, but I may have caused something more than the game can handle, and I was concerned with it. There it goes. There it goes. Keep watching. It's too much for the game to do in one shot. Oh my goodness. Hopefully you guys have figured out what's happening here. And then I'm going to walk you guys through it. I have a saved version of this in case it destroys my world, because I knew that would potentially be a possibility. It's going in stages. Oh, what's happening? So I triggered my Valentine's Day surprise, and it's more than the game can handle, and it's lagging very, very badly. If I get in there, it might work. All right, I'm going to switch game modes real quick. Okay. Oh, that did not work. Uh-oh. It's so lagging, it's not letting me switch game modes. Oh my goodness. Well, guys, I'm trying to do... There's a chance I'm going to die. But we'll see. Is it so frustrating? It's possible that it's done and it just didn't work right. Hold on, guys. I'm going to try something real quick before I mess with this. Hang on a minute. So yeah, it didn't work quite like I'd hoped. So I'm a little bummed it didn't work out quite like I'd hoped, but that's okay. That's all right. I'm going to go ahead and load it up anyways. So I apologize again. It was one of those things I had really no way to test it. But basically, I built this in the middle of the world because I love you guys. And as you can see, it blew up most of the world, but it didn't blow up the front section for some reason. It seems everything went... And somehow it got through my obsidian and blew up a little bit of my heart. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a tour of how this works later. It destroyed a lot. It definitely destroyed a lot. So the hard part of this is that I built this in the world. I had to dig out a cavern to do this. And then I filled the world with Nova Catalysts. So let's take just a quick moment to show you guys a test thing real quick. We'll be right back. Let me take you to Oops. Oh, it's still not letting me do things. I'm still stuck. Okay, well, let me take it to Oops. It's still lagging. It's still trying to do things. As you can see, the water's not moving. The zombies aren't falling. So there were... Okay, so I filled a different world, and I put Nova Catalyst right through it. Just one row of catalyst from front to back. And when I did... Am I going through them? Oh. Go through that? No, I can't. Which mode am I in at this point? So I ended up using just one row of Nova Catalyst from front to back, and it wiped out most of the world. So in an attempt to try to blow this entire world, I filled it with about 20,000 Nova Catalysts. As you can see, there are a bunch that never triggered for some reason. And I used the same process we used before. Glass and obsidian, so I'm not sure how it got through. I must have missed a space somewhere. Oh, I'm not sure where. I don't see any holes in the glass. Back of the obsidian's not even loading. Oh, half the world's not even loading. Okay. We may be in the middle of this and it's still trying to do it. But yes, it may have just lagged and glitched through. It's possible that this thing is still trying to process what I've done. And I was concerned that that many Nova Catalysts might have done it. But it was a big boom. And it good. I'm trying to take out most of the glass was the hard part, because I really couldn't put many above ground. So all the buildings that you could see sticking up, I filled them up so that you couldn't see any of the Nova Catalysts from the front. Oh, what was that? Oh, little mobs are... Yeah, interesting, because there's no way that it will it would have done just the whole back. You can see that it's lagging. Is duplicating cheating? Well, that depends. If you're doing it within the game without hacking into code, then you're doing something the game is letting you do. Would some people consider it? Yes, but here's my view of that. If you're playing alone, there's no such thing as cheating, right? As long as you're having fun, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Now, if you're on a server or competing with other people, that could be a lot different. But if you're just playing by yourself, having fun in your game, what does it matter? As long as you're having a good time is all that matters. Thank you, Makata. What's up? Oh, here comes some of these. All right, so, yeah. It's lagged out really, really bad. I may have to log out and log back in and see what happened. So we're going to try that real quick. It's not even showing the other dome over there anymore. All right. Hold on a minute. This will, even if it lets me save and quit, which it may not because I'm stuck in the middle of this, I may have to force close it. Do you know any automation games that aren't Sky Factory? Galacticraft has a lot of automation. It has some automation, I should say. It's got a lot of the same cyclic and tinker stuff that you'll find in a lot of them. Stoneblock 2 has a lot of automation in it, and I think that's where I'm going to go next. I think that now that I'm pretty much done with Rustic Waters, I think that Stoneblock 2 might be what I'm going to jump into next to stream. It is not letting me exit. Hang on. I'm going to have to force close it. I was afraid of that, but we'll see. Let's see. I was afraid that I did too much stuff there. I knew that was a possibility. I just messed up the world. Game has crashed. Yep, I'm aware. Let me boot it back up again to see if we can get in. While we're doing that, let's see. Oh, throw some questions at me. We'll get started with that. What did I do? I did big booms, my friend. Big booms. So yes, starting Monday night, I believe I'll be starting a Stoneblock 2 playthrough. That's, at least at this point, that's my goal. So we'll get started on that Monday night. So tomorrow morning, let's see, tomorrow morning is the morning stream. We're not doing the test drive this week, so right now I have a poll up on the channel, and Subnautica is way ahead. So looks like I'll be doing Subnautica Below Zero. That'll be our Sunday morning run through to get through the Below Zero stuff again. Because they've updated a lot of stuff with voice work and new stuff in the game since the last time I streamed it with all of you. So that'll be in there. And then tomorrow after that is the community play day. So I'll stream till 12 with Subnautica, take 30 or 45 minutes off, and then we'll jump in and play some games with the community. Normally we do either Jackbox or Among Us, maybe a combo of both this week. I'm not sure. It's not going to be a stream. It's just going to be something we're going to play over Discord. So if you're interested in jumping in and play with some of that, play with us with some of that, join the Discord channel. Come on in. We'd love to have you. What else? What is Stoneblock based on? So Stoneblock is the same kind of idea as Sky Factory, except instead of starting in the middle of the world, you start in a small cave in the middle of stone. There is no above ground. It's all underground. So it's same as Sky Factory. It's using the materials you have to advance yourself further and further until you can get to bigger automations and unlock other things. There's a lot of magic and cool stuff that's involved with the pack. I did a test drive on it, and it seemed pretty cool. So I think that's pretty fun. So we're going to do that that I'll be doing Monday night. I'm going to start a Stoneblock series. Tomorrow morning is Sky Factory. Then tomorrow morning is Subnautica. Then Community Play Day, and then tomorrow night is Merged Worlds at 8 p.m. All right, the world's almost loaded. Let's see if we can get back in. We may not be able to get back in. If we can't, that's okay. We'll just chat for the rest of the night, which is what the main thing was going to be anyways. So we will see. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to jump into Stoneblock. I was throwing around a couple ideas, seeing what I wanted to go to, but still, one truffles for me. Any other options? The controlled miner won't. I appreciate the donation. Thank you very much, and you get to choose Moonshine or Fireball tonight, my friend. You get to start the day. The world is trying to load. I'm going to wait to see if it does before I pop in. See, controlled miner's not working. Try the block breaker. Isn't there there's a block breaker block itself, I want to say, that just breaks the block in front of it. I don't even think it needs power. It actually may be a better option. But I would try that first. See if they do a search for block breaker. Finally stayed up late to see a bit of your streams. Hey, well, welcome, Patricia. I appreciate that. We're today's mostly an AMA looking at my ugly mug while we chat stream. But yeah, I'm trying to get Sky Factory back up. Mr. MT, what is your choice for today, my friend? Is it Fireball or Moonshine? I only have so much of each, so I may end up in both if people keep donating. But definitely you get to start the day. I'll wait on you. I am just floating in space. Nothing is loading. I may have corrupted my game. Will you play into the randoms? Probably not right away. But like I said, throw it in the list, and we'll definitely add it to a test drive list. I don't mind doing that. I probably won't be able to write right away, but I'm happy to. Now it's loading up even funnier. Okay, so I'm going to back out of this because it's not letting me do anything. Okay, you seem to like moonshine, so that's... Oh, no, you're fine. All right, moonshine it is. No rush, my friend. We're fine. Moonshine it is. Can we put on playing a different game? Like tonight? No, I'm not. I wasn't planning on playing another game tonight. I don't have anything really set up. If here in a minute, if I can't get this going, I'm going to load up the update so I can show you guys what it looked like before I blew it. Where should I put your mod pack? I'm assuming on the CurseForge launcher. That's the only place I ever get them. So that's the only way I know how to get one. See, automated users are not working. Like there's not letting items come in. What should I do? Automated users. Automated users. So they're not doing anything. Do you what's the range on them? Because an automated user has a range option. Have you clicked the block that is redstone only? If so, then it won't work until you give it a switch and turn it on. Does it have power? It does require an RF. Hey! Thank you very much. Helps if you do a shot to fireball. Excellent! So after this moonshot, I'm going to go fireball. We're mixing them tonight. I don't care. We'll do that. All right. So the game is still trying to let me out. I'm probably going to have to close it again. I built it too big. Flew too close to the suns, my friends. That's all right. That's all right. We'll load up the backup, which I made for this exact reason. All right, so here we go. First one, moonshine, and this is the big one. This one's like 1.5 shots, so the only clean one I have. You guys get some extra juice today. Here we go. Phew. Phew. You put on the Discord server. Yeah, there's a thread called recommended mod packs. Throw it in there because that's where I get all my suggestions from. Woo! Yes, I'll be doing fireball in just a minute. I'm going to put just a short pause in between, but not much. I promise. Let's see. Let's see. What else have I got? Power and redstone is on. Also, I've tried all sides. Yeah, you put the name of it in there, and then where I would pull it up from, and I'll give it a shot. Probably test it off camera first to make sure it works. And give it a shot and see what it looks like. But yeah, range is fine. Got power. It's got redstone. As much as I hate to say it, have you tried breaking it and putting it back down? Blocks will glitch. It happens to me all the time, and I have to break them and put them back down to fix it. It may be that everything's right. The block itself is just being funky. I would try busting it once and putting it back down. Still doesn't work. Hard to know without seeing it. That'd be my first one. Try busting. I know it's the equivalent to did you power it off and power it on again. But it's really, without seeing it, the best I got. So yeah. Well, everyone who's here hanging out, I said today would be stories and answering questions. It is basically 10 o'clock my time. I got 2 hours to jabberjaw with you guys. So, what you got? You got any questions? Specific requests? Things you'd like to know about old Dad Draven? While you're thinking on it, and I'm about to do my fireball shot, I'm excited to say there's going to be some changes here this week. I'm very excited for that because of your folks' awesome participation and donations. I am going to be ordering my chair tomorrow. We were really busy at work, so I didn't get to do that today. But what I have done is I went ahead and I took our current goal and basically covered the rest of it myself. And I've gone ahead and ordered. Let me rephrase that. Some of the money I have to get the tattoo from the original donation goal, which I can't get the tattoo for 60 days because my dermatologist wants to see my new medicine works first. So I took a little money out of that and put it in to go ahead and do the lighting stuff early. And then when we hit the goal, I'm just going to put that money back in the tattoo. But I have ordered new lighting, a chunk of new lighting, and a new webcam. So quality of vision over the next week. This should look much better as soon as I get this set up. So I'm very excited. Get my fireball shot going. What else do we got here? We do a story. Does anyone want story time? I'm happy to do stories. I have to think of one. Specific one, but fill up my fireball shot. Ooh, gonna mix them in the belly today. 2 right off the bat. Don't get me hammered too quickly, guys. You want stories, don't you? Delicious. That was my regular drink. Not. Okay, Minecraft's back up again. Let me load up the world that I call pre-boom, which may be the regular world. All right, so let's see. So conventions are a thing again. What kind of cons would you think about going to? Attending convention is on my bucket list, but I wouldn't know what I'm getting into. So I've gone to quite a few conventions in my life because, again, remember, I'm very old. Toy conventions, sci-fi conventions, horror conventions. What else? Star Trek convention once, a model kit convention, a whole bunch of things. All right. All right, here we're back in pre-boom. Let me go ahead and switch it over here real quick. Load up. Come on, pop up. Takes a minute for it to register. There it is. So this is pre-boom. So let's, I'm going to go into change modes here. I'm in spectator mode, which allows me to fly through things so I can show you guys what I've done. So this is the world as we see it now. This is my world. Yay. I'm just stuck in need of help. Oh, no, I mean, you're happy to. No worries. Reminds me, second shot. Fireball. Man on my word. Here we go. Phew. That's 2 back-to-back. All right. Here's my dome. So I have laced it with a large amount that's running underneath there. If you look through the buildings, see there's some that runs all through the buildings. These buildings running right through, top to ceiling. Then we go up here, and I've got them running through all the buildings where you can't see them. I've got them all hidden from the front, so you can't see any of the tattoo or any of the TNT from up front. But the buildings do have TNT laced up through them. And again, a nice little chunk on the back. I couldn't put as much at the front because, of course, it's harder to hide them. But as you can see, I've got them running out the building and around. And I did lace them around a good chunk to try to get as much to the front as I could. And then down in here, we've got some underneath as well running through. But you can see some there. You're not going to be able to see all of it because this is what it basically looks like when I built this. So I came down and I dug out a cavern big enough to build this. And I made a little heart around there, and I surrounded it with obsidian and blast-proof glass. Somewhere I must have missed a spot or it glitched out like we talked about. But what you can't see is this entire area that's voided out right now is all explosives. This entire section is just all explosives. So you can see it through the numbers now. That's what's on the other side, even though it's invisible. It is just wall to wall, this entire thing, completely surrounded. Oh, see, like this. You can get in there a little bit. You can see that in the open areas, more and more there. And then I have it running all the way front to back, and then I went up and down in a couple areas to make sure it would get to the bottom. So there is a horrendous, as you can see, it feeds up. So I have 3 different remotes to trigger. And I thought that they weren't working. They were. It was just too much for it to handle. So over here, let's see if I can find it, if it shows it. Where is it? Not showing it. Okay. So basically, the way I have it set up is I have an automated user with a flint and steel in it and a lever controlling it, connected from an auto remote. When I turn it on, it basically ignites the block in front of it, which is one of these, which then starts a chain reaction. I have the basic of them, the components surrounded in stone, so I didn't accidentally trigger them while I was building it. But they're still boom proof. They'll blow through the stone. Yeah, so this is, like I said, this whole section, all up and down, all through here, all in the levels of this building, which you can't really see. It's just all Nova Catalyst, which is just way more than it turns out I would have needed to blow up what I was trying to blow up. So yeah, so I built that, and the whole goal was to try to blow up the world and just leave this nice, cool little sign that said, Happy Valentine's Day for you guys, the best community ever. So, sorry it didn't turn out quite as good as I hoped it would be. But I knew there was a chance of fail because I was doing it. There's always a chance of fail when I'm doing it. But yeah, it took a while. Working on this for a while now. So we got Crane says, love your streams. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. By Driver, I wish I could stay longer, but since I'm up in my room, my internet is messing. Okay, no problem, Big Mac. Have you good, man. I need help. I can't put the mod pack in the Discord server. I need help. I don't know what you mean by put the mod pack. You have to have the mod pack somewhere that I can download it, like a CurseForge launcher, for example. And then you could put the link to it in the Discord channel. There's no way to put a mod pack on the server. It just doesn't allow you to put that big of any type of file in there. So you would need to upload it to some type of launcher and then put the link to where that is in the launcher for us to get it. I apologize, I've never done that, so I don't know the specifics. So I'm not sure. So this little sand here, this was the hole that led down. This is where I started. I found the middle block, and I just went down. Load everything up. Had to get rid of a lot of lava, too, because the lava and torches ran a risk of messing it up. So I built this little block to protect me in case the blast went through, but it was just too much for the leg to handle. So I'll probably have to log on and just let it sit there for an hour to finally catch up, if it's even usable. But literally, I turned this on. I saved this 5 minutes before the stream, so I didn't lose anything specifically. So let me do this. Survival. And we're back. Okay. So now that I'm flying, I'm going to give you a little bit quicker view. Any weapons on, I guess. Oh, dang it. Hold on. This will be easier. Great. Okay. Let me through. Okay. Okay. So, now I'm going to try to show you an example a little bit what it looks like without this. Here we go. Let's see. Ooh, here we go. Oh, I busted into the pink. I didn't mean to do that. So yeah, here's the sign. So as you can see, look down. It's just TNT as far as you can see. And it's, the same thing on the back. It's just a wall of TNT completely surrounding this. And over here, it goes out different lengths and distances, but there's a lot of spots where it gets bigger and wider, and it goes all the way up above and beyond. So it wraps all the way around this. So it's pretty cool. Let's see. What else we got there? Don't get too drunk. I make no promises. That depends all on the community. Morning stream, 9 a.m. Eastern. The schedule's on his site. That is correct. Yes, my next stream will be tomorrow morning. We're going to be doing some Subnautica Below Zero. Start a new playthrough there. I only noticed the walrus in there. Oh, yeah. Always got to have a walrus. Always have. Iron Mine, I apologize. I don't know what you mean by is the link something. Sorry. Not sure what you mean by that. Way out. So again, yeah, just tons of TNT and damage everywhere. Sadly, it didn't work out like I was hoping, but you know, these things happen. I will figure it out, clean it out, and then come back and show it to you guys later. Oh, I know what I can do. Show you the one thing I didn't get to show you. Well, I could if I had done this correctly, but I don't have a waypoint to my cake. That's disappointing. Because I don't have any idea which direction. I flew a long way. All right, we'll show you that later then. All right, I'm going to back out of this then, and we'll just hang out and chat for a little while, because The rest of this is supposed to be an AMA stream. Thank you again to you folks who donated today. It is greatly appreciated. I am still working with my company. Hopefully, early to mid this week, I will find out whether or not I will be able to go part-time there and start spending more time. Let's see what we got here. Don't think allow links to be messaged. That is correct. You can't put a link in the chat. It's not there. Can I play with you in the morning? No, I'm sorry. I only stream solo. I don't stream with others. I appreciate the offer, though. Yeah, so now we're going to story time, AMA, questions, answers, things you want. Hey, Buffy. You can come visit us for a minute, sweetie? Oh, Buffy. So, yeah, I'm happy to answer questions. Story about taking your wife to the horror convention. Yeah, I can do that. So, as I've mentioned previously, my wife is does do well in crowds. She's never been the kind of person who likes crowds and groups. She never goes out places. So, when I first met her, she really didn't do things that were out in. But she's a huge horror buff. So after we've been dating for a few months, I asked her if she wanted to go to a horror movie convention. I happened to find one that was in Ohio, 4.5 hours away from where I was. I'd been to Louisville several times for other conventions, so I was like, why not? Hey you, hi sweetie. So I was like, yeah, would you be interested? And told her what it is. I said there's going to be a lot of crowds, but you'll be there with me and such. So she's like, yeah, I'd like to go to that. Because at the time, she had a big thing for Norman Reedus. I think the first season of Walking Dead was back when the show was good. And I would say that. I liked the first couple seasons better. And then the direction it went was not as enjoyable. But there was very good acting on the show and good writing. But I was like, oh, I'll take you there and get your picture taken with Norman Reedus. Okay, I'm in for that. So it was in Louisville. And I had a secret backup plot of my own to go out for dinner at the Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville restaurant there, because much like many people do with hot or Hard Rock cafes, I'm like that with Jimmy Buffett restaurants, and I try to get a shot glass from every one. I have to, I go to it right when I get. I've also stayed at the Jimmy Buffett Hotel in Florida, Pensacola. Best hotel experience I've ever had in the United States. Not quite as good as the hotel I stayed in China. Definitely the best one in the United States. So we travel up there. And at the time, we had downloaded some trivia games on our phones. So while we're driving, she would just ask questions and we'd play trivia stuff, like Wheel of Fortune things where I was driving. She would. I can't stand being a passenger. Do not like it at all. I only drive. Even when I'm going out with friends in their car, I drive their car. It is rare that I'm a passenger. Iron Mind says he has 2 cats. I agree. I love kitties. Does your wife game? She's about to start her first Dungeons & Dragons game. As for video games, she did a little bit until she had to have her brain surgery. But unfortunately, a lot of the games and stuff now will trigger a seizure, so she really can't. Hey, Muttley, what's up? So we drive up there. I got a hotel that's like 5 minutes away. It's our first trip together as a couple. I think we've been dating probably around 8 or 9 months at the tops at that point. So we go up there to Louisville. And it was a Horror Hound convention. It was the first one that they'd run in that city. Horror Hound has had conventions in other cities very successfully. This is the first one they had this was in Cincinnati. Sorry, I said Louisville. This one was in Cincinnati. And first time con. There were a lot of problems. From what I've heard, they've drastically improved since then. It's been a long time. First time cons can be rough. So we go in there and we get there the first day. We go to get in line and we end up standing outside for like 2 hours. They just weren't prepared for the amount of people that showed up. Which is odd, since most of us had pre-bought tickets, but still. We finally get in there and we walk around and we did a little shopping, because that's her favorite thing, to buy cool stuff, horror themes. And we did a little bit of that. And then the next day, we were only going to be there 2 days. The next day, she was going to get her picture taken with Norman Reedus. I paid for that ahead of time. And then we were going to head on back home. Well, the Norman Reedus situation was that because it was a new con, they weren't quite sure. We end up sitting in line for almost 2.5 hours without moving, before they finally came over and said, hey, somehow there's accidentally 3 lines for Norman Reedus, and the one you're in shouldn't be here. We need you all to come over here. Then we all had to go stand in another line, which took like an hour and a half to get through because he was late. More on that later. And finally we get in there and she gets her picture taken with Norman Reedus. We're like, cool. I have been to many conventions, and sometimes when you get your picture taken, you got to wait about 20 minutes and it'll be ready. It'll be sitting out on the little table and you go pick up yours. In most conventions nowadays, you get your picture taken. By the time you walk to the table, they're handing it to you. They're pretty on the ball nowadays. But back then, we end up waiting an hour and a half for the damn picture. So this whole thing took like 7 hours of the day. We ended up leaving the con hours after we planned. And even the worst part was, I had bought a ticket for her to then take that picture, go get in line and get his autograph. But we were told it'd be a 2-hour wait because he was late again. I asked her, I'm like, listen, if you want, we'll wait. She's like, no, I want to go. I'm done. Okay, cool. So we left. And she had such a good time, shockingly. She was nervous in the crowds, but she stayed close to me and held onto my hand and stuff. We got through it. And we took lots of breaks. I had already memorized a map of the place, so I knew where there were areas you could go to, where there'd be rest areas where there wouldn't be a lot of people. And every so often we'd get off the floor and just go stand together in a space where she had no bunch of people around her. And it was a very good experience. So as we left, we went and ate at the Jimmy Buffett restaurant, what I wanted, which is in a casino, which is intriguing. I didn't realize that. But we ate there. It was delicious, as it always is. Hello, Patrick. And, oh, butthole. Ooh, gross. Don't do that. Don't ruin the camera. That's inappropriate. But we went ahead and did that. I got my shot glass, and then we headed home. But we had such a good time that on the way home, she was like, when can we go to another one? Start looking it up. So she starts looking up other conventions, and Wizard World was having a sci-fi horror action in Philadelphia about 3 months later, I want to say. And we're like, okay. I was like, do you want to go? And she's like, well, Norman Reedus is going to be there. I can get his autograph on the picture I'd taken of this last one. And there's some other people she wanted to see, and there's a couple people I was interested in. James Marsters, who played Spike in Buffy and Angel, was going to be there, and I was a huge fan. And I definitely wanted to get his autograph. So we set that up. I see there's a couple other questions. I promise I'll answer them in a minute. Hello? What is this? People don't want to look at you sitting on my belly. Okay, maybe they do. I just likes to sit on my belly now. It's your new favorite thing. They can't see my face, sweet. I'm sorry. I love you. I'd like to have you cuddle with me. Not right now. Good girl. So, hey, Iron Man. So, we get the tickets for that. We're very excited to go to that. All right, Iron Man. Have yourself a good one, man. We'll catch you later. And let's see. What are the questions did I miss here? How many characters have you known in D&D? By that, do you mean players or characters that have actually been created in the game? Jim wants to know if you had any Skyline chiliware there. No, I've never heard of that, and not a big chili fan. So, no, we did not have any chili there. I had Jimmy Buffett's jambalaya, which was good, and a burger, because I'm fat. So we decided we're going to go to the Philly one. So I work a bunch of overtime, save up, get us a really nice hotel. Just a block and a half from the convention. We're on like the 12th floor. I got a really good view. A little more into it than I should have, but I was trying to impress the lady, right? And we went to Philadelphia 3 months later. And the drive there wasn't horrible until we got around Washington, D.C. That was the second worst traffic I've ever had to deal with in my life, next to Atlanta. Atlanta is worse. But it was the second worst. So we went to Philly, and the first day we just kind of hung around because she had somewhere else she wanted to go in Philly that she was very, very excited about. Oh, you're not too late, Heather. I'm actually just talking about my wife's and I first couple trips to conventions together. And then I'm going to tell a convention about how my YouTube channel, or a story about how my YouTube started. And I've already had 2 donations and done 2 shots in the first 45 minutes. So it's been a good day so far. So I thank you all for that. Thank you all for coming by and hanging out with me. But we go to this convention again. We get there and we hang out. And we go to the convention the next morning when it opens. Because I just gotten a day pass that. We're going to go there. First night, we'll hang out, find somewhere nice to eat. We ordered room service because she'd never had room service before. And that was pretty good. And we got Philly cheesesteak sandwiches because I felt like I can't go to Philly without getting a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. I felt that would be wrong, as I had never been to Philly before. And then we walked around a little bit and took some pictures. I have some of those pictures. I could probably drag them out, put them on the Discord channel later if anybody wanted to see those. But I do have some pictures of that. We went out and had some fun. We were parked. There's a lot of artsy kind of monuments and stuff in the area. Next morning we go up and we get in line. This convention, way more streamlined. I bought VIP passes. Or no, I bought us advance tickets. Hey, Heather, thank you so very much for that. I appreciate that. Yay. Oh no, halfway to another shot. Calm down, people. Still got plenty of time. but we get in there and we got a bag of loot, which was cool. They gave everybody a bag that had like some cool comic books in it and lanyard and some fun stuff. That was cool. You do want to see those pictures? All right, I'll dig up some of the good ones. Most of them are of her because I did all the picture taking. But I will post some of them up on the Discord probably tomorrow. But I'll dig them up. And we went in the convention. So immediately we're like, hey, let's go get in line for Norman Reedus. Get this picture autographed, right? So we go and we get there and we're an hour early. We're like, let's get there so we get a good spot. We were still probably like 100 people in front of us. And we're waiting. And dude's an hour and a half late. We sat there for 2.5 hours. This is the third or fourth time. We're waiting on this dude and he shows up late. At this point, I'm like, this isn't an accident thing. This is just a dude who doesn't give a shit and doesn't show up on time. It was a little hurtful. So I went to 2 cities far from home so my wife could meet this dude, and he didn't show up even close to on time at every single event he was supposed to be at. At some point, there's a little level. It's not schedulers. You're just not giving a shit. So that was a little hurtful. By the time they had got there, all the VIP people who'd bought in the VIP tickets, who were supposed to get in first, they had all built up over an hour and a half. So now they're like, okay, it's finally opening up, but it'll be 2 hours to get through the line. My wife's like, I just don't care. Let's just go. So we went around and left the line. Again, not getting her autograph of Norman Reedus. Still has the picture, but no autograph. And we went bumbling around the convention and saw some other things. And some of you may hit me for this. I don't know much about the Ramones. It's just not a music that I listen to. But my wife is a huge fan of punk music, especially British punk, but punk in general. So one of the Ramones was there. So she really wanted to get an autograph of him. That dude had the best process for autographs I've come across. He had a lady out front with an iPad, took your name, logged it down, took the payment ahead of time, and then has you go over and sit down next to the dude, not even in front of him where he just signs it. You go behind the table and sit down, and dude films himself signing your autograph. Talking to the camera, this one's for Heather. Heather, I really appreciate it. I got this today on this date, so on and so forth. Gives it to her, and for 0 extra charge, emails you the video. And he does that because he's combating people who sell fake autographs. And that was phenomenal because there's a lot of people out there peddling fake autographs. And he didn't want that. He wanted her to have proof that that was in fact his and that she got it genuinely and gave her a free video. By the time we got back to the hotel that night, she was able to download that video. She still got it somewhere. But that to me was awesome. That was something he threw in at no extra cost because he wanted you to be able to prove it, and he wanted to make sure that people knew that your autograph was legitimate. I respected that heavily. Flip side to that, she also wanted William Shatner's. Now, William Shatner's, again, very streamlined. You got in front, you paid. They give you a Post-it note, or you tell them your name, they write on the Post-it note. When you get up there, you hand the Post-it note, the person sets it next to him, he says, writes your name on it, and then thank you or whatever. But man, were they in a hurry. Like, we got up there, handed the thing, signed it, and then, like, before we even taken a step, immediately turned and started talking to the next person. Like, he was not there to converse. He was to get you your signature and get you on. And, you know, I mean, health may be a concern there. I get it. Wasn't really hurtful, but it wasn't really getting to meet a dude. You know, I mean, at that point, I could have just bought an autograph on a table out front of the area and seen him from a distance and had basically the same reaction. So it was all right, but for what, it was double the price of everybody else's. So that was pricey. Ramones are awesome, and that's a great person. It was, and I apologize. I don't know which one he is. I think he was a drummer, but I don't remember. Again, I don't know anything about the Ramones. It's just not my music type. So we had this second concert. She was having a great time. I mean, other than the Norman Reedus debacle, everything else was going well. And then it was my turn to go and get an autograph with James Marsters. And I'd wanted that for a while. I'm a huge fan of James Marsters in everything I've ever seen him in. I loved him in Smallville. I loved him in, of course, Buffy and Angel. And I've seen every episode of Buffy and Angel. Huge Buffy fan. And I just really like James Marsters. And we get in line and we get up there and again, smooth line. And he's very chatty. Hi, how you doing? So on and so forth. Yada. We get up there and he's signing my thing and he sees my wife who's wearing, you know, a t-shirt. And my wife's got tats all down her arms, right? Tons of tattoos. And he looks at her and he goes, I love your tattoos, which she gets that a lot. People really comment on. She's got very nice artwork. And she goes, like, I love your tattoos. And she's like, oh, thank you. And he's like, I got a couple too. And he's like, you know, I perform in a rock band. Have you heard our music? And she's like, no, because that's not her kind of. Like, no. And I'm like, I have. Me with no visible tattoos. I'm like, I actually have 2 of your CDs. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, this song, and this song. These are my favorites. He's like, that's awesome. He's like, we're performing tonight. We're selling tickets. There's a guy sitting 3 feet to his left. He goes, man, hook these guys up with some cheap tickets. And we got the tickets for like half price. And I'm like, yeah, we'll go watch you perform tonight. We weren't leaving until the next day anyways. I'm like, do you mind? And my wife's like, no, I'd be fine. I've never got to see it. Sure. So I'm like, all right, cool. We're going to do that. I apologize if this story is long and boring. But it's relatively cool at points. So we're like, all right, cool. We'll do that. Prisma Carpenter was there. Her line, unfortunately, at the time was a little bit long. I didn't get to see her. She was also in Buffy and big fan. Wanted to see her too. But I didn't get up to see her because of the line and such. And by that point, we'd been wandering around. We'd been standing there for hours waiting on Norman Reedus. Her feet were sore. And again, the crowd's over while still gets to be a little bit daunting, even though we took many breaks and stepped to the sides. Let's see, somehow an insight to help her through the anxiety. How do you know exactly what to do? I guessed. I know that sounds bad, but I looked it up online and looked for suggestions. I Googled information on anxiety issues at public places and things of that nature. I just kind of Googled advice and make sure you know the area, be comfortable with it, know the exits, know where you can go for a breath of air to get a quiet moment. Most places will have, if nothing else, it may not smell great, but a smoking area is a great place to step out. There were little tips like that. We didn't have to do that. There was enough. We didn't have to, but I just looked up tips and stuff I could find online and guessed on the rest. But thank you. So we hang out there. We go around, do some shopping. I'm like, here, I got $200 I brought for you. Buy whatever you want. And she does. And shopping's her favorite stuff. And we go around and get a whole bunch of stuff. And I think I got myself like a sticker or a magnet. I don't normally buy a whole lot at the conventions and such, but it's all right. So we then okay, well, we're done. Let's go back to the hotel, get a bit of a rest, and then we'll go check out James Marsters' concert tonight. We walk back to the hotel. We grab some lunch on the way. I think we ate at the convention, which is ungodly expensive for a hot dog. Then we bumbled over there. Ugh, I missed it, didn't I? We're just doing the AMA now. If you're talking about the Valentines thing, it was very lackluster. I built something too big and it crashed the world, but I did give a tour of it on a backup copy, and I'm going to hopefully be able to recover the world enough that I can get back into it. But yes, that part I showed at the beginning. But my goal is to try to make a clip video of a tour of it and then show the aftermath. So I'll put something up like that a little bit later. So there was that, and we had a good time at the convention. We go back, we get to eat. Then it's time to go see this convention, or this concert, right? And my wife and I get a taxi. The taxi ride, pretty cool. Guy knew where he was going, chatted us up nicely. Just enough talking to be friendly and ask some questions. Not too much to be annoying. Like that about a good taxi driver. You got a big tip. We then go into this place, and it's just a little place, right? Tiny place. It's not a big place at all. And the opening band was just a hardcore metal screamo band, and I couldn't understand a word they were saying. Again, not my type of music. I like rock and I like metal, but I also like understanding what I'm listening to. Unless I'm listening to music from another country, like Rammstein or The Who. I enjoy that. Sneaky bad. So we're sitting there and we're watching that. And we're just kind of looking at each other and giggling because we don't understand a word they're saying. And it's actually rather humorous. And then they end. And we're like, okay, cool. It must be time for the song to start. But it was not time for the band to start. No, there was one other act beforehand. There was a science fiction fantasy Comic-Con themed burlesque. Now, I need to stress to you all that my wife, very old-fashioned in many ways. Things of that nature, not up her angle. She gets very shy and stuff around that stuff. So all of a sudden we see this burlesque show where people are coming out with little cardboard cutouts of the Enterprise or Serenity and such and spinning it around. And I'm like, if you need to go, we can go. She's like, no, it's fine. It's good. We'll just sit through it. That lasted about 45 minutes. And while that's going on, Prisma Carpenter shows up and is hanging out in the audience. She's going to be there to support James Marsters, which is awesome. And I got to go up and talk to her for a couple minutes. She was sweet as could be. Incredibly nice person. I tried not to stay along or be creepy. I was like, hey, just want to say I'm a big fan. She goes, oh, really? What's your name? And she invited me to continue the conversation for a couple moments. So it was really nice, but I made a point of, well, it's been a blast. I hope you have a great time. And I did not want to linger because people like that, they get enough people swamping on them, not leaving them alone. I just wanted to let her know, hey, big fan. I didn't tell her I didn't get the autograph, but because I did, I'm a big fan. Enjoy your work. Hope you have a great time. And she chatted me up a minute. It was very cool to get to hang out with her in such a casual place, even for just a couple minutes. Well, then James Marsters' band, come on, Ghost. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on the rest of his name. Oh my God, I just called the James Marsters' band. I remember it. Hang on a second. I'm gonna feel bad if I say it wrong because I love the music. I still listen to it a lot. Let's see. Ghost of the Robot. That's what it is. Oh my God, I feel bad that I don't remember that. But Ghost of the Robot. I really enjoyed his music. I've got 3 of his CDs. I bought one there and I already had 2 of them. No, I bought 2 there. I already had 1 of them. I really enjoyed them. So got to jam and listen to that, which was really cool. And that was a lot of fun. And then when it was finally done, it was time to leave. Here's where things got interesting. Remember how cool I said the first taxi driver was? We did not have a repeat of that. The second taxi driver was just freaking insane. Insane. The man had no sanity in him. Not only was he driving like the car was on fire and he was trying to get to the water to put it out. He just chatting, he'd talk around and just chat to you for a minute, and then he'd look back at the wheel, and I'm like, we're in traffic, dude, you need to look this way. But he's like all over the place, and he's asking all sorts of questions and talking about the government and such, and he's a taxi driver to stay off the grid and all this kind of stuff, and we're just looking at each other like, if we live through this is going to be funny later. But man, he just went on, and he's real friendly, though. Like, he wasn't like threatening or anything like that. He was just overly friendly and talked about wackadoo things. So it was an interesting experience. It took a little bit longer than normal because I'm not sure he knew where we were going at first until he figured it out. It took a little longer to get back than it took to get there. But we finally got back, and got back to the room and got out of the car. Our legs shaking just a little bit from the adventure there. We made it back into the room, went upstairs, and decided to order pizza to the hotel because we'd never done that either. I hadn't in all the conventions I was in. I thought that'd be cool. So the pizza was delivered to the room. We munched on pizza, watched some movies and TV shows, and just kind of hung out for the rest of the night and left the next. Let me see. I know I've missed a couple of questions here, but let me go back and see what I missed. I went to a Star Trek convention. I got to meet Marina Sirtis, a few producers of Next Generation. She's more beautiful in person. I didn't get to meet her, but I was at a convention she was at, and she's very awesome. I found your new favorite mod, Draven. Interested to hear. How long ago was the story? This was probably 8 years ago. 7 or 8 years ago, I want to... Probably closer to 8 to 9 years ago. I take it back. 8 to 9 years ago. So it was a long time ago. Again, Draven's very old. But we had a great time. And then after that, the next morning, before we went home, we went to go do the thing that she wanted to do even more than the convention. This is not something that I'm into at all, but again, we've only been dating less than a year, and I still feel like I need to impress her. She wanted to go to the Mutter Museum. If you're not sure what the Mutter, I want to say it's M-U-T-T-E-R, unless it's D-D, but I think it's T-T. Look it up online. So the Mutter Museum is a museum of medical oddities. And when I say that, like, there's a wall of faces. Human faces. There are weird, abnormal, and mutated people in jars, and heads in jars, and skeletons of conjoined this and that. It was an experience. She had wanted to go there for years. And she got a couple like souvenirs from there and some things that she really liked. It was actually really, really, at first I was like, this is going to be gross. I know it's going to be gross, but it ended up being really cool. There was books with human flesh as the binding and the pages and such, and just all sorts of stuff. Ears. There was like a wall of ears, if I remember correctly. There was, like very short people skeletons, super tall people skeleton, people with weird growths of bones that came up and wrapped around them. It was all sorts of weird stuff. And they're real bones. These were not casts. These were real things in there. Going well, Joseph. But it was a very interesting experience. But they do not let you take pictures and stuff. And I can understand that. I don't know if they're like other museums where right now they're offering virtual tours. But kid you not, if they are, it's worth paying for. It was a very interesting experience. I had a blast. I would probably go again if we went back, just because I know how much fun it was, and I'd like to take people who hadn't seen it just to kind of introduce them to it. That's my favorite thing to do. I love introducing people to things they haven't done before. Probably one reason why most of my friends are younger than me is because I like introducing people. D&D is one example. New places to eat, going on trips. I love introducing people to things because it's always been my personal firm belief that you only get to experience something for the first time once. I think everybody will agree with that. One time, you get to experience something for the first time. But being with someone else who's experienced something for the first time is the closest you can get to experiencing it again. You get to see their first excitement, their reaction. Sometimes it's a different reaction than what you had, which is a whole interesting thing altogether. So I like that. So we came home after that convention. It was a lot of fun. And we've done multiple conventions since then. Several horror conventions, a couple more Wizard Worlds. When we came home from the Philly one, the one I was just talking about, it was a month later that she had her first major seizure at work. And she just passed out, blacked out right on the floor at the call center she worked. My call center was literally a block and a half away, just up on the hill. So they called me because they didn't know her mom's number, and I raced down and picked her up. She had several more of that, and that's when we started getting her looked at, and we found out about the small growth in her brain. And she had, after years of trying different things, it came to the point where she had to have brain surgery. So as I mentioned before, they went in and they cut her skin like this, pulled that flap down, they cut a hole in the side here, pulled that off. They went in and they removed a small piece of her lower frontal lobe on her right side. And they put that back on. They have this metal thing that looks like a snowflake that they put in, that they throw little screws on to hold on there to hold the skull piece. And then they put the skin back and they sew up a big And it was probably to this day the scariest day I've ever had in my life. Sat in that hospital for like 16 hours. That was a 16-hour surgery. Every 30 minutes to an hour, I got a call from a nurse giving me an update. But it was a long time of me sitting there waiting on each individual update. You know, because something like that, you never know, right? That's a major thing. Hearts and brains, that's pretty much the two big ones. Maybe spines as well. You know, because they mess up back there, you can't move anything again. So that's one of the big ones, brain surgery. But she came out of it much better off than she was when she went in. She still has seizures, though they're nothing like the size she had before. But she's not able to work. Her time walking, balancing, holding stuff up. And she has to avoid things like Candy Crush. Like she used to play Candy Crush a lot, but now the phone game stuff give her a bit of a seizure. She doesn't really do that. She mostly watches TV. She has a good time. We're good. But much better off than that. But that was that convention. Yeah, I've been to many more. If you want to hear more convention stories, I can do that. Unless somebody else has another question or type of story they'd like to hear. Panda says, I can't think of a single person I know would make plans for anxiety breaks and stuff. Deal with it kind of thing. Well, I mean, it's a twofer. If she met me, she probably would have never went. But it was a good experience. It was a lot of fun. And I knew she was having a hard time with it. She would have a hard time. But each one we've gone to has been easier and better. Right? So it's... All right, so Turtle got some Minecraft. All right, hit me with it. What's your scariest experience ever? Well, that was one of them. I mean, definitely having to sit there and wait on her. Scariest experience. All right. This isn't going to sound... I got two of them that fall in that. While Turtle's coming up with his Minecraft things. MT, I'm glad that worked for you. Awesome. Excellent. What got me into modded Minecraft? I'll tell you that right after these stories. There are two stories that I could think of from my childhood that scared me. Things that were scary for me. The first one was my grandparents in Canada, back in the old country, if you will, the frozen tundra of the north from which I was spawned. They owned a lot of land. They lived out in the country. And they had their house with lots of trees around it. And the other side of that trees was another person's house that had bought some of the land off my grandparents to put a house there. And they had a girl who was my age, and I went to school with her. Her name was Janice. Awesome person. Friends for years. Still talk to her once in a while. But behind that person's house was all my grandparents' property. 400 acres of forest and Canadian swampland. Drinks here. 1 second. And right behind Janice's house was a junkyard. My grandparents were the last people in our province to get a license for a junkyard before they determined there were too many of them as it was, and they weren't giving out any more. So there was a junkyard there, and they basically let other people have a junkyard there. Like, they owned the land, but they licensed it out. And there was this giant douchebag that ran it for years, and then owed him like 10 grand in back, whatever. And then one day they went out there and dude was just gone. Little trailer he lived in was gone. He just up and left. And it was just a yard full of cars, trucks, buses, and trash. And my grandpa spent the next 20 years cleaning that junkyard out. Selling off everything he could, anything people wanted. In Canada, you can go to the dump and put in 2 tires. You can take 2 tires to the dump a day. My grandpa took 2 tires to the dump every day for like 10 years to get rid of all of those. But the reason I mention this is there's a highway, then out in the country highway. My grandparents' house, and if you're in my grandparents' house looking at the road, right? Think about this. On the left-hand side, acres of forest. 10 minutes before you get to the next house, walking. 1 minute driving. Behind you, even more. On the right-hand side, that's where Janice lives. So there's enough trees that you could just barely see someone's headlights when they're maybe pulling into the driveway. Very faint. And there's a junkyard on this side. Way more woods all behind them. One night, we're over there, because we just live 15 minutes away. We spend every weekend at my grandparents' house. And my sister and I and my mom, my stepdad wasn't there. He was at work. And it was just the three of us. And my mom had run in and brought us out and got us in the car. And then she went back in to get something. I think my grandparents had some leftovers, something they were sending with us. And we were already in the car ready to go. And when my mom came out, I happened to notice, and I pointed that towards Janice's house, there were headlights pointed towards my grandma's house. But where those headlights were was between my grandparents' house and Janice's house. And all that's there is trees and a very thin area of what would be just a yard where the grass is normally like stomach high. So they would have to be between mine and Janice's house. So my grandma gets on the phone, calls Janice's house. Remember, Janice is my age. Called her parents, obviously, but I don't remember her parents' name. So I called Janice's house, and they're like, no, it's not us. We can't see it from where we are. So my uncles were there at the time, because my mom has two older brothers and a younger brother. And two of my uncles were there, and they're like, someone's over there, and they shouldn't be. So they get in one of the cars, and there's a little road through the woods that is a back entrance to the junkyard. My mom jumps in the car with us and drives around to the front gate to block whoever it is so they can't get out. And so I'm sitting in the car. My mom backs in. So if somebody does try to get up there and get to the car, she can take off. But I'm in the back seat. So in my head, all I can think of at 7 or 8 is I'm closer to the people. And I'm looking for any movement so I can yell at her to go. And I'm freaked out because I don't know who that is in there, right? And the way that they were acting, it made me think it was much more dangerous. It was really just trespassers. They didn't want people in there vandalizing or messing with stuff in the junkyard, because this is very early on in the junkyard stuff. And they drove around in there forever and finally came around the front and had my mom go back to the house. Never found a car. Never found a person back there. But after they started in the car and started to drive, the headlights just went off. And the assumption is they drove up into the junkyard, pulled in between some of the cars, and at night you just couldn't find them. And they just waited until we left. Or took one of the back roads. There's some back roads in there that would have taken them in over some tracks and out some of their farmers' fields. But we sat there, and just sitting in the back of that car, not knowing if someone was just going to appear at the window or some of the car was come racing us, freaked me the hell out. It wasn't like I was afraid of ghosts or nothing like that. I was afraid of real people in that situation. All I could think is, why did you back in? I'm closer to the danger. You're the parent. You get closer to the danger. But not so. That's the first one. Let me jump in here and see what I've missed here. What got you into modded Minecraft? Achievement Hunter, to be honest. Achievement Hunter, I've been watching their Minecraft series for a while, and I'd been playing Minecraft because that's how I found Minecraft, was through them. I happened to be a fan and watching the week their first episode came out. I started watching it from week 1. By like the 10th or 12th week, I had got it myself and started playing it. But when they got to Sky Factory 3, that's what made me want to play. Them having so much fun in Sky Factory 3, I downloaded Sky Factory 3 as well. And that was my first mod pack and my first real experience with modded Minecraft. Got to block my thing. Can you tell a John story or a haunted house story? I'm sure I can think of one of each. Give me a couple minutes on that, because I always have to go through the story to make sure at some point it doesn't become too inappropriate. Turtle says, okay, these will be kind of rapid fire quick questions. Don't overanalyze your second gaze. Okay. You could add 3 mods to Sky Factory 4. What would they be and why? Galacticraft, because I like space. I'm just trying to think of what else in there. Chickens, because I love chickens. That's sweet. I love kitties too. Third one, I'm trying to think of another one that's not already in there that I like. Sky Factory 4, loot bags from Sky Factory 3. I really enjoyed the loot bags. I'll give you the next one when you're finished answering. Okay. You have 9. Okay. Economic Evolution and Refined Storage would be nice. Yeah, those ones are fun too, but for me, the chickens were just fun. I'd like to have. What do you like about dungeons? What do you think should be a part of most dungeons? You mean Dungeons and Dragons or Minecraft dungeons? Just looking for clarification there. Because the last question was a Minecraft question, so I just want to make sure that I'm answering the right question. What was the second scary story? I had a second scary story. What was that? I'll have to come back to that. I remember. Minecraft dungeons. Minecraft Dungeons was fun for a few days. That type of game I don't get into as much. I played Diablo, so it was like Diablo Light. I thought it just didn't have as much to offer as Diablo did. But overall, it was an interesting game. But it was okay. I don't think I've played it in months, but I've still got it. I think a lot of updates have come out since then, so it might even be better. But for me, it was fun. But very quickly it became repetitious. I was just doing the same actions over and over again without much of a different result. What should be part of most dungeons? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant Minecraft Dungeons the game. I'm sorry. Dungeons in Minecraft. What do you like about dungeons? What do you think shouldn't be a part of most? I would like to see more traps, less mob spawners. Because mob spawners just all over the place end up becoming annoying and less interesting. I'd like to see a different theme to them. I understand that's hard with something that's randomly being generated, but I'd like there to be a spider room, a zombie room, a skeleton room. So I go into a dungeon and I see a skeleton. I'm like, okay, that's a room full of skeletons. Or that's a room full of zombie villagers, whatever the case may be. I'd like there to be some themes to some of at least the rooms, if not the whole dungeons. I know it's harder with the dungeons because, again, there's so much randoming. But if the rooms were pre-generated to be a theme, that would be kind of cool. Yes, I think that'd be my answer about that one. Let's see. Let me go back see if I missed anything. John's story or a haunted house story? John's stories are so hard. So many of them I can't stream. All right, let me see. Let me jump into a story for. We tell a haunted house story. Those are a little bit easier. Here's one. This one's relatively short, but it was interesting. So the haunted house I worked at, which again was called Mysterious Mansion in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, was one of the two I worked at, but the one I worked at the longest. Part of our jobs in the morning are to go in there, walk through the haunted house, turn all the exhibits and such on, the lights, the special effects, the strobe lights, the sirens, make sure there's nothing else in there. You know, there's nothing in there that would trash from the night before. It's usually by the time the day ends, we've worked a 13-hour shift. We're not in the mood to go through there and sweep the place out. We do all that in the morning because we're usually busier near the end of the night. Mornings at a haunted house, not that busy unless it's like a Halloween weekend. So the mornings we're cleaning the bathrooms and all the janitorial stuff fell on us as well. So we get there one morning and it's my buddy Derek and I. We were the monsters that weekend. And I think I was cleaning the bathroom and he was sweeping out the house. Because the house took longer, but the bathroom always stinks. So I'm like, I'll do the bathroom so I can be done quicker. And he's like, that's fine with me. So he's sweeping out the house. So he props open some of the emergency fire exit doors. Because there's fire exit doors all over both sides of this haunted house. When you go in the haunted house, you're going in the house and wandering around and loops and up and down all around the place. And at many places, there's emergency exits. A, in case the place legitimately catches on fire. And B, in case somebody gets scared and needs to leave. Go to the first emergency exit, which is well lit. Go out. There's your classic metal fire exits, except they're all stairs. There's no ladders, but it's all stairs. You can go up and down. There's no way to get in an emergency exit without the key. Lock automatically. We all had keys because as we were scaring people, a lot of times we would go out an emergency exit, run up the stairs and jump in again. So that way we were getting ahead of them while they were winding through the haunted house. Lets us scare people at different points of the house without actually having to run past them and try to get ahead. There's also a monster room in the middle of the house, which is literally almost like a roundish room where we had chairs and TV and we hang out in fridges. But there was also like scaffolding and ladders and poles, and we would be climbing up and down 3 stories. So that was another way you could pop in and out in front of people. And there was things inside like sirens, and you stick your arm out through a hole like you're trying to grab somebody. There's a lot of different interactive things from inside that room. So I'm cleaning the bathroom. And Derek has several of the emergency exits open, sweeping out the place, which is normal because it's dark in there even with all the lights on. So we're sweeping it outside where it's easier to see what it is, and we scoop it up. And we're always finding free stuff. Money, jewelry. For those guys that smoke, there was always lighters and cigarettes in there. I never smoked, but there were guys who did. There were always finding watches, cameras, and we set them up, keep them there for 90 days. If nobody shows up, if you found it, you get to keep it. You know, wallets were a little different. If we could find somebody's information, we'd call them. This was before cell phones, so we never found a cell phone. Because again, remember, Draven is very old. So I'm sitting there cleaning, and I hear this loud roar. I see Derek go running past the bathroom doors, which I also have open because it did stink in there, especially after all night. Because people did not care in these bathrooms. I'm scrubbing, cleaning up the bathrooms, and he goes running by screaming like he's chasing something. I know his scream. This is the kind of scream he does when he's chasing somebody. But I'm like, he's outside. Nobody ran in front of him, so he's not like chasing a customer. I don't understand what's going on. So I walk out and I look down and I don't see. He went around the house. I'm like, hell, where'd he go? So I turn around and that's when I saw the bear. So in the Smoky Mountains, black bears, quite common. And because of, the fact that people feed the bears when they shouldn't feed the bears, and there's trash left everywhere, bears get a little bit too close to us regular folks sometimes. And the bear had wandered right into the haunted house and was just looking around, munching on mannequins and stuff, until Derek came around a corner, and the bear was not happy to see him. Derek was more unhappy to not see the bear. So he went tearing off. The bear chased him out. I come out. The bear had stopped. I literally turned around. Bear 2 feet in front of me. I didn't make a noise. I was scared. Don't get me wrong. I was freaked out. But I'm like, I just stepped back and pulled the door closed in the bathroom. Because again, there's a lock on I lock it on the inside. I'm like, these are steel doors in a cement building. He's not coming through that door. I heard him bang on it once or twice, but then he left. He went and hopped over a fence and took off. But yeah, that was a bear just wandering in the haunted house. We'd have that problem a lot. Raccoons especially. Raccoons would get in the haunted house. We'd have to spend 20, 30 minutes not letting customers in while we trying to chase them out an emergency exit. Raccoons would sneak out because somebody would run out an emergency exit and they'd run so hard that the door would jam open or something. And then critters would just come in. And we didn't know that door was open because there's so many emergency exits. You just can't watch them all when you're scaring other people. Hello, Siege. Good up, sir. What up? Welcome to the AMA stream today. Hopefully you guys are having fun. I should say this because I haven't mentioned it earlier. Thank you all for coming and hanging out with me today. I appreciate you coming and listening to my tales and stories. If you are having a good time and you haven't already, please be sure to click like. And if you don't mind, if you haven't already, hit subscribe. Hang out with us more. I stream a lot and I put up videos and other stuff. And hopefully here within the next week or two, that amount of stuff is going to drastically increase if I get some good news. So here's to hoping. Also, we have a membership program. Anybody you see in the chat who has a green or blue font to their name and a little cool D&D dice after their name of miscellaneous colors, those are members of the Draven's Dragons membership program. If you click the join button anywhere on my channel, it'll take you in. It doesn't sign you up, but it shows you what all you get. It's a lot of stuff. Access to our members-only Minecraft Sky Factory 4 server, members-only streams, the cool fonts, specialized emojis, and a mess of other stuff. Discounts on the ODG store, lots of stuff. So if you're interested, we would love to have you. It's like a Twitch sub, only cheaper, $2.99 a month, and you get all that stuff I talked about and the other things that I've forgotten. But yeah, you should check it out. It's a lot of fun. We also have a Discord channel. If you go to my website, onlydraven.com, where there's a lot of fun stuff. One moment. Frankie! Hey! Thank you very much. Oh, Frankie, I love you to death. Frankie! Is that a moonshine shot or is that a fireball shot today? Frankie, I love this. It's story time. Frankie's got to hear some of my stories before. She's heard John's stories at some point. I know it. Yeah, if you fireball or moonshine for your shot today, my friend, throw it out there and I will quaff it. Let's see what else I've missed here. Loot is fun to get. Chests and loot bags, but not too powerful. What loot is fun to get? Weird stuff. I like the weird stuff. You know, like the crafting table extension or extended inventory, stuff like that. Things like that are fun. The weird pieces of armor, the flight charm, the different charms, the different wands. Moonshine for Frankie. All right, Frankie gets moonshine today. All right. Woo! Third shot of the day. My goodness, people. My goodness, indeed. And we're still halfway to another one, because we were halfway to one when Frankie did that. My goodness gracious. People can get me drunk today, aren't you? Where did I put my shot glass? There it is. Yeah, I like the odd stuff. Like, it's nice once in a while to find a diamond or an emerald here and there, but after a while, you've got so much of the basic resources, I'm throwing away 90% of the stuff that I find in a chest. Give me the weird stuff. Put some heads in there. Hey, you know, I like that. Hey, Buffy. Hey, sweetie. All right, Frankie, your moonshot. Thank you very much for your donation. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out today. Whether you're just hanging out, donating, or being a member of the membership program, your support of the channel is drastically helping this increase in popularity at a fast rate and making it so that I get to spend more time with you. Hopefully to the point that not too far down the road, I can do this full time and we can hang out every day. I'd like that very much. Ooh, I forget that's a bigger shot glass than normal. That's a bunch to chunk down. That was potent. Oh, goodness. Saber, thank you very much as well. Kick-ass. Wow. So many awesome people popping in and donating today. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. My goodness. We are $4 away from it. I am keeping track of that because some of the things, the donations that are made in chat with the super chat and the super stickers, those don't automatically add on to the total that you see in the bottom of the screen there. So I have to add those after the stream, but I do keep track of it. And I'll make sure they get added to the goal at the end. There's also a link down in the description of the video, or the streams and all my videos, that you can donate directly via PayPal, credit card, or debit card directly that way. If you donate there, it automatically gets added to the total because that's donating to Streamlabs specifically. But again, either way, I just appreciate that you did it. Thank you so very much. I don't care. Whichever way you want to do it, I appreciate that. So thank you very much, Saber. I appreciate that. Woo, what a great day. This is cool. I'm having fun with the stories. All right, let's see here. I do not play vanilla Minecraft. That's correct. Although people have been asking. People have been saying, hey, maybe it's time to play a vanilla playthrough. I just don't know what the challenge would be. I mean, you can walk around and investigate things and see what's new, but I don't think there's advancements and goals and things of that nature. So I'm not sure if I would run out of things to do, like how long I could stream a vanilla series. Oh, goodness. What's that one? Randy! Hey! Also, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, then. So now we're $2 away from another shot. All right. So, cool. Did I miss any other questions? What are your top 5 mods that are not commonly used and not for gaining materials or are overpowered? That are not commonly used? That makes it a little bit harder because most of the ones I play with are commonly used. I like refined storage. I don't get to see it in as many mod packs as I'd like. I guess I could throw that one in there. That was my mouth, not my butt. Oh, good Lord. Randy! Randy, yours was the last donation to get a shot, sir. Is it moonshine or fireball? I'm just bouncing back and forth today. I don't care. Moonshots or fireball for you there, Randy? By the new snapshot. It's been so long since you played vanilla. It's true. I mean, I think it could be fun. Like I said, I don't know if it would last long, but jumping in and fiddling with it could be fun for once. Maybe after Stone Block, I'll do that. That would be cool. Getting drunk today. Maybe. People seem to want that. How many ways can Draven die? Teresa, that's your question every mod pack. That's not special. They did Achievement Hunter did a video like that once to who could die in the different individual ways the most in like an hour. It's a great video. I love that one. Randy, moonshine for Randy. Where did I put moonshine? There it is. And again, I'm not gonna lie, this shot glass I'm using is actually a shot and a half. So you guys are getting your money's worth today. Every one of these I do is basically a shot and a half instead of just a shot. So free one because all my other ones are dirty. You're lucky. Look at that. We're running low on moonshine and freaking fireball. I'm gonna have to go to the store tomorrow. Well, I was gonna go to the store and get more anyway. Wonder what flavor I'll get next. I'm still tempted to get the moonshine pickles or moonshine cherries. I'm told that the cherries and the pickles absorb a lot and become very potent. I'm not sure that the moonshine flavor, unless it was very pickle flavored, I'm not sure that, because the pickles are big. I don't think I could do a whole pickle for a shot. Plus the bottle wouldn't last. I'd have to like do a half a pickle. Maybe even a third of pickle. I'd probably have to get a pickle out, cut it, and taste it. The cherries are smaller, but I hear they're very potent. Like they absorb a lot. So I don't know. Maybe I'll pick up one bottle of one of those. Yeah, they're pickles that have literally sat in moonshine and absorbed it all, just like pickles in vinegar. I'm assuming they vinegared them first and then put them in there. But yeah, maybe I'll pick up a moonshine bottle and a pickles and a cherry, and we'll put that on the wheel. So let me see what you guys think about this. Hold on a minute. Well, I didn't put it on here. Oh, I know why. Hang on. This is going to look weird for just a minute, but bear with me. So I was thinking about doing something like this for the donation shots. It should show up in a minute. So, oh, that's way too small. But I was just fiddling with it. See what you guys thought. Like I could put different stuff on the wheel, and I could spin it. And there's like Fireball, Moonshine, Jaeger, Draven's Choice, your choice, or the Mystery Bag of Nastiness. You all remember the Mystery Bag of Nastiness. That's a paper bag with like $1 of those little mini bottles that are all cheap and nasty. Each one has like 2 shots in it, and I got to do one of those. They're horrible. Only one in there was tolerable out of all the ones we've done. So I thought about throwing the wheel up there and then doing spinning, or do you guys prefer to just do what we do and you guys choose yourself? If you guys like this, I'm here for you guys. I mean, to be honest, I only get to do that when you guys join a membership or donate anyways, so I want you guys to get your money worth of the things that you do. That makes sense, right? Yes, I'm going to do another shot. This is the moonshine. Mm-hmm. Phew! My God. Oh! It's potent. Wow. It's going to be more difficult. If you only pick one, which of your cats would you choose to put in Minecraft? Buffy. And I know that's hurtful. I love all my kitties. But Buffy was my kitty. She's the one that I picked to come home with us. I think you've all heard the story of how I picked Buffy, right? I don't want to tell a story. I think you've all heard that. But Buffy was mine. I picked Buffy, and she came home with me. So, yeah, that was it. Hey, Turtle, have a good one, sir. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. Enjoy your VR, sir. VR makes me nervous. I feel like I would fall and hurt myself. But then I remember I weeble and I wobble. But I don't fall down. That joke. See if my fan will work today. The fan is not working today. I will just be sweating. All right, let's see what's next. Do not get pickles. Not good. Oh, Muttley, thank you very much. I'm going to reach out tomorrow to a friend of mine, or tonight afterwards. I think I've mentioned this before. I've told old roommate John stories many times. But John has a younger brother named Mikey, who I also adore. Lovely human being. I was a cop and worked in the court system for years, but now he's one of the uppity-up folks at Old Smoky, Tennessee Moonshine. So I think I might reach out to him and see if he has any recommendations or if he knows of any new flavors coming out or something I should look for, because if he recommends a flavor, there are like 4 liquor stores in my town. Like every other small town, there's more liquor stores than anything else. I'll go try a different one and track down one he recommends. So I'm going to shoot him a message later and see what he recommends, because Old Smoky Moonshine is the only moonshine that I drink. I'll tell you, they don't sponsor this. I'm not doing this because they paid me to. It's just, I've tried a couple of other brands. I just like Old Smoky. I've always preferred their stuff over all the other ones I've had. So right now I'm trying to get a different flavor every time. But maybe, like I said, I'll pick up a flavor and the cherries. I think I might avoid the pickles at first. Just because those scare me a little bit. The pickles might be good for an extra life stream. Hey, and you know what? That's the time to talk about that. So as you all probably remember, last year and the year before, I was a member of the Extra Life charity. The year before that, my goal was $250, and we made $500. Last year, my goal was $1,000. We made $1,300. So this year, I'm going to set my goal at $2,000. That's a big increase, and I understand that. But I'm going to do several streams this year. I'm going to do several different events. I'm going to give away some prizes. I'm going to do some stuff and have a couple different events instead of just one. I'm still going to have the big one at the end of the year, but I'm going to have some events where hopefully we can help raise some funds for a great cause. So keep an eye out for that. The pickles might definitely jump on. So there's that. All right, Joseph, enjoy your meal, sir. I hope it is delicious and tasty. Headset wasn't plugged into the wall, so it's dead. That's sad. Makes me sad. Both options. Mystique says both options. Says, oh, you like both of them? Okay, well, that's cool. We can do everything. I'm fine. D&D barrel pickled fish. Hey! No, it's a thing that I've yet to actually hear a situation where it came in handy or was interesting. It popped up from time to time. It popped up, I think, where it was the most useful is when they were going down and through the Drow City and going down into the center of the Merge Worlds kind of thing. It wasn't the center, but it was deep. I think that there was a point where they were running low on food and they actually ate the pickled fish. And so they were able to do that. Artemis had a spell that let her increase food. Almost like, Jesus' spell where you could increase the amount of food from others, if I remember correctly. But the pickled fish last them for a while. All right, let's see. Did I miss any questions? I don't think I've missed any questions. I may have answered every question you have. Whoa, wait, I missed one. What is your favorite monster or animal that is from some mod and why? Favorite monster or animal? Oh, bye, Rose. Have a good night, sweetie. Hopefully see you again soon. Favorite monster in the game? A lot of cool monsters. Personally, and this may sound weird, I really like the other character models. Like in Sky Factory 4 where I collect their heads. I really like that. I like that creatures bumbling along look like popular or famous YouTubers. And I have the chance to slaughter them and put their heads on my wall. But overall, I like the concept of it. I thought it was a really fun and nice little homage. Again, I think that would be really cool to be included in something like that. I know you can get yourself included, but it'd be nice. It'd be very flattering where someone else creates, the official Sky Factory 5 comes out and I'm added to it. That'd be a pretty big tip of the hat. Ooh, slurred a little bit there. Don't worry, I'm going to be sobering up. Let's see. Last one. If you could add one item or block to Minecraft, what would it be and why? The walrus. The walrus should be in every mod pack. Let's see if I could add a block. I mean, to be honest with you, very often, I'm going to go back to the old one. I want some better signs, man. I've wanted better signs forever. There just aren't good signs. It hurts my heart. I would also like to see more stairs. More stairs in the different block options that exist. Oh, wait a minute. I mean a new block that doesn't exist. Oh, that's different. Give me a moment. I had an idea about this one. I would like to see something Garfield related. I don't care what it is. I'd like to see a Garfield block, or even a cat that looks like Garfield. Like you can do something to one of the cats in the game that makes it look like Garfield. You got like if you cook a lasagna and you give it to one of the cats. And that cat turns into the orange cat with black stripes, and it automatically gets the name Garfield. I think that'd be awesome. I'd like Garfield to be in there somewhere. I got a little Garfield up on my shelf right there. I love Garfield. Huge fan. I have every Garfield book. They're on another shelf. You can't see them. But I have every Garfield book. Love Garfield. And, of course, anything Keanu's nice. But to be honest, I would choose the Garfield because I think it'd be easy to fit it in there. Make a lasagna, feed it to the cat, and then suddenly it becomes a Garfield. And I don't see why not, because in the chicken mod, you can feed different things to the chickens to make special ones, like chicken osto and such. So it's possible. They've done it before with chickens. No moonshine for you, kitty. You're driving later. Let's see. I already answered that. Did you create a new character for D&D yet? I have. Mostly, kind of. I'm halfway through. I created a test character in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. I started working on it the other day, and then I got confused. I'm working on spells. I rolled a cleric. I'm not saying I'm going to play this one, but I rolled a cleric since my new group is going to have 2 clerics in it, and that was the one that I felt was going to be a bit more challenging to DM since I know a little less about how that works. So I've got everything pretty much hammered down except spells. I really don't like the way 5th edition handles weapons, spells, and armor for clerics. Like, hey, you're a cleric of healing. Go put some plate mail on. Like, what the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. In any D&D that I've ever played, in every D&D story, you don't see a cleric walking around in plate mail. That's a paladin. There's a class for that. In my merged worlds, the gods have specific weapons, armor types that you can use based on the god of your worshiping. So I'm going to have to come up with my own. I've got to take my gods and I've got to fiddle them a little bit to match 5th edition, but then change 5th edition a little bit to match merged worlds. Because I just don't like the idea of a cleric walking around in any type of armor they want casting. I understand a lot of people play 5th edition and they like that. Not going to happen with me. Sorry. That's one thing we're going to go back to. I'm also trying to figure out spells, because it looks like wizards and clerics have all the same spells now. The hell's up with that? That doesn't make any sense. Looks like wizards and clerics all pull from the same spell pool, depending on which cleric you choose. Like, there's just a spell for clerics. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it. Spells are confusing me. Everything else I've got down. Spells is silly. So far, I don't like any of the way that spells work, with one exception. I like that you can use a 3rd level spell slot to cast a lower level spell, and it gets a little bit of boost because you're using a higher slot. I like that concept. That's cool. Everything else about spells sucks so far. So I'm fiddling with spells. So for those of you who are rolling characters, not naming anybody, Ashley, I'd wait on writing down your spells, because that's probably going to be changed a little bit before Merge Worlds goes into action. But the rest of the stuff, again, I feel like they generalized a lot of it. It's like, here, pick your background. You're one of these 6 people. Okay, it's not really diverse. I would rather people just pick their own stuff, but if you want to use one of those guidelines as a thing, you can. They also, when it comes to the skills, they've really tuned them down. Like in 2nd edition, there were like 100 different non-weapon proficiency skills you could get. 5th edition's got like 20. Anybody can pick them. Anyways, that's what I've seen. It may be better and I haven't got to it yet, but those are the 2 things I'm frustrated with. But a lot of the early stuff I've gotten into, I like. The weapons also, if you can use any weapon, I'm confused. I'm still working on that, but so far it's been pretty good. I'm sorry if that's confusing to those of you who don't play D&D, but I do play D&D and it's also confusing for me. Vertical slab, yes, Saber is 100% correct. Give me vertical slabs. They exist in creative in almost every mod pack I've looked at, but you never can use them. I would love vertical slabs. Very good call. How does D&B work? D&D. I'm there with you, Jacob. D&D. Interesting you should ask. I'm going to have an episode, a new video coming out on Tuesday called Behind the Dice. And the first episode is, what is Dungeons and Dragons? Where I'm going to kind of talk about that. But basically, you create a character on paper. You have someone who tells you a story, and with the character you have on paper, you make decisions. You're walking down a hallway. You reach a dead end almost. You reach the end of the hallway, and you can go left or you can go right. Looking down the left, it appears that it's dusty and that no one has walked on that floor in a long time. But there's a weird, haunting, very low moan off in the distance. On the right path, going down that direction, this side looks like it's been used very much, as there's very little dust at all. But it sounds like something metal is clanking 3 times every 20 seconds. And it sounds like it's coming from that direction. Which direction do you want to go? So as a dungeon master, it's my job to come up with the story. I just did that on the fly, but that's an example. So if I was DMing that right now, the thing down the left where you think is probably a zombie by the story I made is not. In fact, it's actually a very deep chasm where the wind is blowing through it. And as you try to cross over the very thin bridge, something comes up out of the chasm to try to grab you. Non-zombie. The other direction with the clanking, you get down there, and that is in fact, let's just say an iron golem that is literally not knowing it's doing its last thing. It's just hitting its hammer against a wall because for so long it's had nothing else to do except it does that for an hour, then it walks around. It does that for an hour, then it walks around. You come into the room disrupting its cycle, it doesn't know what else to do, so it attacks you. Now you got to roll. Now we have damage. We have fighting. That's Dungeons and Dragons. And the goal is there's usually a storyline. You're trying to do something specific. And I try to kill you. Not kidding. but it can happen. Let's see. I'm confused. You're confused, Ashley? Are you confused about what I said, or are you confused about the player's handbook? We'll get back to that. Jim and I won't know the difference if you change the rules or not. That is true. Always to the left. That's my girl. Always to the left is correct. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely fiddle with the spell thing, because that's the one thing I'm not real happy with. I did buy my wife, who's going to be playing a cleric, this cleric spell card box. As every spell a cleric can have, you can take out the spells that you get as your type of cleric, and you can get a binder with sheets and put them in there, so you have a quick reference to all your spells, so you don't have to look through the spell book to find them out, and use them as quick reference guides. I really thought that'd be great for someone who hasn't played before. And they were actually pretty cheap. Bought them on Amazon, had them 2 days later. So that's a really cool thing for those of you who are clerics out there who might want to have a spell card reference. Nobody in particular. Confused about spells and skills, only 2 is BS. Yeah, I'm confused about that. Again, I'm working on it. I promise I will make it better. Mm-hmm. All right, Jacob, have yourself a good one, my friend. Authentic Hudski. Hey, I know this isn't a Minecraft stream. Confused on how to farm wither skeleton skulls in Sky Factory 4. I was surfing YouTube and only found a video on withers. Is there one I'm missing, or could you help? I'd be happy to help. So, there's a couple ways you can do it. I mean, one is to go to the Nether and fight wither skeletons. And you're probably going to want to do that. But not in the way that you're thinking. Here's what I recommend. If you're wanting wither skulls, there are several different ways to farm them where you can get a bunch, and there's some that are easier than others. What you want to do in Sky Factory 4 is you want to dip into the deep mob learning. You want to create a wither data model, put it in one of the little holders, and then you want to go to the Nether and you want to kill like 10 wither skeletons. That'll raise your data model from faulty to basic. Once it is basic, you can put it in I forget the name of it, the machine that you put them in, the thing, and it will try to run them over and over again as long as you're putting polymer in there. Every time it runs, it levels it the same as doing 1 kill, but it won't do that until it's at least basic level. So if you get it basic level, it'll just keep going over and over again until it levels all the way up to super high. And as it levels, it'll be making different materials. And you have a chance of getting pristine wither material. There's another machine in Deep Mob Learning that I think it's a Simulation Chamber was the first one. The second one, I forget what it's called. But you put those in there and you can trade them for different things. And 1 pristine, if I remember correctly, gives you 6 wither skulls. So once that's running and it gets all the way up to self-aware, which is the highest it can be, and you're getting a pristine weather out of like 1 or 2 out of every 3 cycles. As long as you're throwing polymer in, and polymer is super easy to make. It's like clay, lapis, and something else I forget, but it's easy. Then it's just going to keep pumping out those pristines. You just keep trading them for wither skulls. That's an easy way to do it. Another way that you could do it is you can make a solium dagger. If you use a solium dagger and you use that to kill withers, there's a chance that they will drop a wither chunk. Wither chunks can be used to make wither seeds. And those are part of mystical agriculture. Once you have wither seeds, you can plant those, which will give you wither essence, which you can turn into skulls. Again, the same kind of concept. As long as you've got 1 seed, plant it, it'll start giving you the essences. You can use those to make more seeds, rinse and repeat until it's making you a whole bunch of wither skulls at once, which you can automate, and I do have tutorials showing how to automate mystical agriculture. That would work. Loot Fabricator. Thank you very much, Authentic. Yes, Loot Fabricator is the one you put the pristine in. That's how I almost always get my skulls at this point. Because to be honest with you, you don't need... I always build an automated wither killer, but I don't keep it running. There's no need for that. It uses a lot of power. It's really loud. It's annoying. And it's a drag on your PC because there's a lot going on in there. But I set mine up where I can just walk over to a chest, 2 chests next to each other, drop skulls in one, drop soul sand in the other, and they go over to where my wither thing is, usually wirelessly, and load in, and then it makes a whole stack of them, kills a bunch of withers. Then I open up another chest that my item collector has picked up everything they dropped, and I get to do it all remotely from where I'm working, even though the wither killer's way over there. And so that way I only got to do a stack or two at a time when I actually need some nether stars or something. But anytime I need that, I just run over to the loot fabricator, because when I'm not running anything else, I'm running slime seeds or I'm running wither skull seeds. Slime seeds to get the pink slimes, which are the easiest way to get those, other than just killing them yourself. So pink slime balls and wither skulls are the easiest and best thing to use the loot fabricator on, in my opinion. I probably use them for that more than anything else. So there's that. Spell cards sound essential. They're very cool. They make them for all the different classes that I've seen so far. At least every class that uses spells. So that I really like. That's a great addition. I'm probably going to buy them all eventually. Is there a way to automate the deep mob learning, adding polymer and taking out the matter? Yes, kind of. Taking out the matter is easier. On it there, if you just slap a item extraction cable on the right-hand side of it, it'll pull anything out that it makes. It won't pull out your polymer, but it'll pull out the pristine matter and whatever the other matter is. Overworldian matter, hellish matter, anything. Oh, I'm still on small screen. Thank you, Turtle. I appreciate that. I'm sorry, I've had a few drinks, but don't worry. They're fading right now. I'm almost back to normal again. So if you slap a item extraction cable on the right-hand side of it, it'll pull out the pristine matters and whatever the other matters, overworldian, hellish, whatever, but it won't pull out your polymer. That's going to pull those out for you. On the left-hand side, I usually put an item extraction cable connected to a chest, and then I can just load polymer to that chest, which will just keep feeding it in, especially if you use one of the expanded large chests. Put it in there. Now, as for making polymer all by itself and automating it, yes, you can. It's not worth it. Because again, you need lapis, clay, and maybe gold or redstone. I don't remember. But you basically would have to have 3 different mystical agriculture farms. One producing clay, one producing lapis, and one producing whatever that third thing is that I keep forgetting. And then those would have to be formed into the items, and then they'd have to be fed into an auto crafter at the right rate. Probably better to move them into a simple storage and then use a processing cable to pull out what's needed so it doesn't clog it up. And then with the clay, you're going to have it dropped on the ground, then have a block breaker break it, an item collector pick it up in the clay balls, and then feed it into the system. So you could do that, but it's not worth it when you can just have this stuff for inventory and say polymer, 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 and you do get yourself an inventory full, throw it in the chest, and that's going to run it for 30 minutes. It's just way easier to do that. But yes, emptying it, 100%. Have it emptying into a chest, and then have that chest go right into your storage system of choice. Then you can just pull the pristines or the overworldian matter or whatever you need right out of your inventory. Totally recommend unloading it automatically. Been wanting to get a lot of matter for the server. Oh yeah, that's easy. That's what I do. I usually make my blue chests, because I like 222 is the color that I always use when I make my chests, unless I need them color coordinated. If you ever watch my videos where I have chests where I've put my inventory inside of a compact machine, I do have different colored chests there, so I know these things go to the red chest, these things go to the... It's just easier to track which automation goes to which. But most of the time, what is it? Iron, lapis, gold, and clay. Okay, so I take that back. You'd need 4 mystical agriculture things to make all 4 of those, conveniently, if you really want to automate without you having to load and unload. And again, the amount of time and effort you're going to put into that, you're just not going to need that much polymer. Have a chest right next to where your table or your crafting area is, with a wireless transceiver that sends items to the chest that goes in there. You can just make them right there at your crafting table whenever you want. Throw them in that chest, they'll feed right over. That chest over there can fill up. This chest can here fill up. That gives you 2 chests worth of this. Take 5 minutes to load it up. You probably won't have to touch it for hours, maybe even days, with as fast as that runs. It's just more beneficial, time-consuming, and useful to make it manually. Definitely unload it. Checking it to switch things out so often. Yep, that can be annoying. I don't need everything automated, so that's perfect. Yeah, the loading is manual, but it's still automated, right? Still going into a chest and feeding in, so you don't have to go over there every stack of 64. We talked about that, Randy. Okay, cool. I've caught up on the questions again. Ba-boom! We still have 35 minutes left. Was there any stories or questions that I missed? If I did, please tell me. I apologize if I did. Woo! We've had $40 for the donations today. Thank you all very much for that. I really appreciate it. But I also appreciate the fact that you're just here hanging out. I know this isn't a gaming stream as much. I only do these once or twice a month at the most at this point. People seem to enjoy them. If you like this kind of stream, if you'd like to see me do this on the regular, throw it down in the comments. If you're watching this later, I should say. If you're here, tell me. Or throw it in the Discord. Come into Discord. Tell me there. But if you're watching this later, throw it in the comments. I do my best to keep up with comments on videos. Across all of my tutorials, at this point, it's averaging between 500 and 1,000 comments a day. I'm doing my best to answer as many of the questions as I can, but unfortunately, YouTube just doesn't notify me of all of them because there's so many. So if you ever leave a question on a tutorial or a video and I don't answer it within 7 days, please come into the Discord, post it there. Or if you need it sooner, come in the Discord, post it there. Go to my website, onlydraven.com. At the bottom of the homepage is the place you can submit feedback or questions or requests for help directly via email. I get those notifications every time, and even if I'm not at my computer, I can, on my phone most of the time, if I know the answer, I can just reply immediately. I've done that. I've actually had more questions be submitted on the website in the past 7 days than in the 6 months before that combined. So thank you. I love that. I enjoy that. That's a great way to see people are going to the site. Because the site, I don't really make any money on the site unless you shop at the ODG store, which, by the way, has some really cool merch. But I'm trying to build the site as a cool hub where people go there and find information and maybe find something cool they like. So if you have feedback on the site, things you'd like to see, things that you do like there specifically, things you'd like to see changed or added, let me know. I'd love to know. I'm always trying to tweak it to make it more user-friendly and appealing. So, seems if there's any type of merch you'd like to see on the store. We just added the Never the Alien merch line just this week. There's a whole new set of stuff on there that tells the truth that Draven is never the alien. If you've ever played Jackbox with me, you know that I'm never the alien and agree with me 100%. Appreciate it. Let's see. What's a good drink for someone who can't stand the slightest flavor of alcohol? Let me see. If I was going to go for wine coolers are usually the best. Jump on some Mike's Hard Lemonades or even some Seagram's Strawberry Daiquiris. They just taste like very potent carbonated fruit drinks. I really enjoy the Mike's Hard Lemonades. I like those. We get I like the green apple and the strawberry. My wife really likes the blackberry. But I'll drink any flavor of them, except for watermelon. Will not drink watermelon flavored anything. Gross. I like watermelons, but watermelon flavored things are nasty. Same with peach. I like peaches. Peach flavored things are disgusting. So I like peaches all day. That. And let's see what else here. Other drinks. A White Russian would be another one that I'd recommend. Because it's vodka, Kahlua, and cream. And if you make it light on the vodka, higher on the Kahlua and the cream, it's going to have a very faint taste. You can go heavy with the cream. It tastes like a coffee drink. I have my wife take a small sip of every liquor that we get. And she hates all of them. But Kahlua was the one that she wasn't that bad on, which is why I bought it. I don't drink Kahlua. I don't like coffee. But I got it for her so I can make her a White Russian. I just never made her a White Russian. Bought the Kahlua. But then we stopped right there. So I may have to do that soon. I'm not a huge fan of them because I don't like coffee. But when you go through bartending schools, one of the things they're going to tell you is either come up with your own signature drink or learn to make a regular drink extra well so you're known for that. So a lot of my friends that I played D&D with, where it was an entire female group, they all liked White Russians. So I started making those the most. I just got really used to making White Russians, so I'm told my White Russians are pretty good. But that's probably the drink I've made the most for others. For me, it's vodka and orange juice, which you can do vodka and orange juice or Sprite and orange juice. If you're having a hard time with the alcohol, just really dilute it. Go really heavy on the vodka, go really heavy on the orange juice, and just put a little bit of alcohol in there, just so then when you put a little bit of vodka in orange juice, all it does is kind of make the orange juice feel a little watery if you just put in a little. Over time, you can add a little bit more if you want to. But there's a lot. You don't have to have alcohol to have fun. I like to stress that. Those people who want to do that responsibly and are old enough to do it, watching. For those of you that are able to do that, you want to, that's fine. Drink responsibly. But for those of you who aren't, you don't have to have alcohol to have fun. You just have to hang out with Draven, because that's all you need for fun. I'm just kidding. I can't repeat that. Let's see what else we got on here. I'm still mad at you, and Ashley got me on push the button. I'm talking about. I've never been an alien. It's never happened before. I don't understand anything you're talking about. Hey, turd, stop messing with that. Hang on a second, I got a cat problem. Hey, get out of there. That's messing around my power cables. Currently writing the quest for Dravencraft, so I loaded a test world. There are structures, dungeons, ruins, etc. every 100, 500 blocks, and each one I found so far is different. That's pretty cool. That sounds pretty cool. Sounds like there'd be a lot of different options of new things to try. And that's really, in my mind, the mark of a good mod pack. If I'm still playing it 3 months later, you've done well. Most mod packs I get into, they're awesome at first, and then after 3 or 4 weeks, I've done everything I want to do. You run out of things to explore. It just becomes repetitious. I really enjoyed Rustic Waters, but I got to a point that was like a wall where there wasn't enough instructions, there wasn't enough to do, and when it came to exploring, I'd pretty much done everything. And I'm sure I'll go back to it because it was fun. But for actual that's where Sky Factory 4 wins for me. Sky Factory 4, again, even though I've played it an ungodly amount more than I have anything else, I take a couple weeks off, come back, and it's like a brand new game, and I'm back in there doing something different. Sky Factory 3 was good for that as well. And had they finished it, I think Galacticraft would have been that way. Galacticraft had so much potential. I would probably say after the Sky Factories, Galacticraft was my favorite. If they had just finished it, it was going so well. I had so much fun, and all of a sudden, can't go any further. It sucks. Let's see. I'm my younger sister. Waited a very long time to try it. Wanted to try something out, but couldn't find anything she could stand the flavors of. Thanks for the tips. You're very welcome. Yeah. Again, start with a Mike's Hard Lemonade. That to me, they're these out. If you like green apple flavored stuff, green apple is very green apple flavored. Like it's if you like a green apple Jolly Rancher, you would love green apple Mike's Hard Lemonade. I recommend that. I would stay away from moonshine at first, because it doesn't matter what you drink in moonshine, it tastes like moonshine. That's something not everybody can handle, and you got to build your way up to. Item extraction won't put stuff in the Deep Mob Learner. You add items from the left, right? Maybe I missed something. Yeah, so the item extraction cable connects to a chest and then goes in the left-hand side, and that would be polymer. It would just load polymer in. So that's only for polymer on the left. Then on the right, it pulls out everything except polymer. It won't pull out polymer. You have been a big background noise today because I'm sorting art supplies. Well, I'm happy to be a big anything because I was born that way. I'm a big guy. So if I could be a big background noise, I'm happy I could help out Mr. Turtle, yeah, we really slammed face first into the wall. And it was so much fun. I was having a blast with it. Going to the moon and all that stuff. And to be honest with you, I wanted to play that because Achievement Hunter played that. And they had the exact same problem. It was going great. It was going awesome. They got to the moon, and all of a sudden they're like, there's nothing, we're stopping. And they never finished it because there was nothing else to do. I loved that series, sadly. I must have done something wrong. Yeah, maybe. You may want to check, make sure there's nothing clogged in it. Lord knows I clog up the cables all. Yeah, that's how I've got mine set up. I don't have the game open, or I would check for sure, but I apologize. But there's that. All right, wow, we've got 25 minutes left. Any other questions or specific type stories that you like? Can't get it to work. I'll tell you what, after this, I have to go right to bed because I got to be up in the morning for another stream, and then play day, and then another stream. But I will have some time tomorrow afternoon. I'll jump in and take a look at my setup and make sure that everything is okay. I'm 99% sure it comes in from the left. You may want to try having it come in from the top, but I'm pretty sure I have it coming in from the left. but I'll have to double check to be sure. I promise. Else. Oh, let's check in on the YouTube poll. A lot of times I do my polls in Discord because, and I like to do that. But I thought it'd be nice to throw it out there. There's a lot of folks who are subscribers or to the channel who do not join the Discord channel. Clearly, I have 11,000 subscribers, and there's like 400 people in the Discord. So I thought it'd be nice to throw it out to those other people who silently watch and enjoy the content. So I put the poll up there today for once. And so right now, Subnautica Below Zero has basically destroyed everything else. I mean, there's nothing even close to that. I was really shocked. I kind of expected Skyrim or The Witcher to win because they're so popular and people love them. But I guess just because people aren't used to seeing that type of content from my channel, it didn't win them over. But Subnautica Below Zero is what we will be playing tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so hopefully be there to watch it. Some of you. I understand some of you won't, but that's okay. Let's see. College stories. Ooh, I could probably come up with a college story. Hopper on the top of chest, and then to add polymer clay. Hopper would work as well. Stunning loot bags. Very cool. Top work. Hey, there you go. Good sauce. Sky Factory 4 loot bags. 3 light bags. Excellent. I love Sky Factory 3 loot bags. They're a lot of fun. I would say I like them even more than chance cubes, because chance cubes are just too destructive for me. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I'm streaming Stoneblock, I'm going to use some. But very often I find they ruin more than they help. So, especially when withers start popping out, you're not ready to fight a wither yet. Let's see. So, college story. Let's see. I'm trying to think of, again, work. I may have told this story, so please stop me if I have. Did I tell the story about the guy who had a big crush on a girl who we'd always see her in the common area, and she was always taking a nap between classes on the bench? I don't know if I ever told that story and how I helped him ask her out. While we're thinking about that, the college I went to, one of them, had a lot of really cool, recently made, very wide, smooth sidewalks. And looking at them, they would be perfect for skateboarding or rollerblading. When I was a wee lad, I mean, I was fat, I've never been a wee lad, but when I was younger, I first started living on my own. I got back into rollerblading because I played hockey for years, so ice skating wasn't that much of a problem. Tell you a funny story there. I'm going to interrupt myself real quick. At the time that I first started rollerblading, I lived in a town called Jefferson City in Tennessee. And I lived right on Carson Newman campus. I didn't go to school there, but I lived right on the campus. With 2 roommates, John, and my other old roommate, Jason, who I'm still friends with. Well, and I was living with John and Jason, and I decided I wanted something to do. I found a pair of rollerblades at like a used goods, like it wasn't really a pawn shop, but it was kind of like a pawn shop. And I was in there and found a pair of rollerblades my size for like $10. So I bought them. And I would go out at night and boot around on the roads because most of the time it was very quiet. It was a small college, and then in the off season, people were at home in the summer. There was nobody there anyways. So I just go booting around on the roads at night. But the roads were really rough there. They weren't really newer roads. So I thought one day, hey, you know what? I'm going to run over to the college I went to. Not this college I lived on, but the one that was about 15, 20 minutes away. I'm like, they had great pavement, I remember. And I'm going to go over there and boot around that. I wasn't in school at this point. I'd left college. It's a college story, so I'm going to count it. And I went back there and I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to start booting it around. Well, I always did this at night. 1, because that's when I was off work. 2, because it was cooler. And 3, because I'm a fat guy. And I don't want people laughing at a fat guy booting around on rollerblades. So I'm booting around at night. And I'm just zipping around. There's nobody there. The college is closed. Zipping around fountains and stuff. And it was perfect, man. You thought it was a rollerblade skateboarding park. How smooth these things were. They just built them like 6 months before. And I'm all over the place. And I get done. And I'm like, because I'm fat. I got tired. I was like, okay, that's enough. My legs are going to fall off. And I go back to the car, take off my rollerblades, put my shoes back on, had a little backpack I had over my shoulder, I throw my shoes in. I'm walking back to the car, and these 2 cop cars show up. And they get out and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I was rollerblading. Got rollerblades in my hands. I was just rollerblading. I came here at night because there'd be less. I didn't want to run into people and stuff. And they're like, yeah, security called the cops because I guess the security was trying to get my attention. They were on one side, but I had headphones in. I was listening to music on a Walkman because again, I'm very old. So I had a cassette Walkman on. And I was booting around. So then they drive around to the other side. By the time I got there, I was coming back to this side. And they thought I was trying to avoid them. I had no idea. I didn't see them at all. Because I wasn't anywhere near the parking area. They get out of the car and I was gone. They'd go back in the car, try to drive around and catch me. They call these cops thinking I'm around there doing whatever. And I guess you weren't allowed to rollerblade a skateboard there. For the record, there were no signs. There were a week later. But there were not signs that night. And so I was like, I didn't know. There's no signs. And the cops look around and go, security goes, you got any signs up? He's like, no. He's like, well, then this guy can go home. I'm like, okay. The security was not happy about that. He's like, you don't want people to read here. Put up a sign. Sure enough, a week later, there were signs. Because I went to pick up a friend of mine who was still going to school there. And she's like, hey, they put these signs up today. I'm like, I know why that happened. But yeah, it's this chunky dude in black. Because back then, all I wore was black. For many years, all I wore was black. Matched my hair, nail polish, and my lipstick tape. That was the younger Draven days. So now I will tell you the other story that people were saying that they didn't hear. So I could have sworn I told this, but maybe not. So while I was going to that school, the one I rollerbladed on, this was before that. A lot of times, there's a common area. People hang out between classes, and I hated college and half the time skipped classes and just hung out there, either playing hacky sack with people, Dungeons and Dragons, or board games, card games, Magic the Gathering being the big one. Like tons of Magic back. There was a guy in our group was playing Magic. I knew him just because we all hung out there. We didn't hang out outside of school, but he was there playing Magic and whatever. One of the crowd that hung out, and there was a girl over on a bench, and it was like summer, but she just in a little nap on a bench and shade under a tree. And dude kept elbowing me, and man, she's so pretty, and she's cute, blah, 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 all this stuff. I'm like, go her out, man. Like, what do you want me to do it? And he's like, no, man, I can't do that. He was all shy and stuff. So, like 3 days a week, she did classes like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Had to have, because those were the only days we saw her there. So I was there all 5 days, and he was there 4. But at least 2 or 3, she was always there, either eating her lunch, and half the time she'd fall asleep. So I see him there playing Magic, and he just keeps always peeking over at her to see if she's awake, trying to get her attention, but without ever doing anything. So I ripped out a piece of paper out of my binder, and I started jotting some stuff down, and I handed it to him. I said, go give this to him. And he opens it up, and he reads it, and I'd written a poem. Because I write poetry. It's a hobby. I've done it since I was in middle school. I like to write poetry. So I have ungodly amounts of poetry. So I'm like, here, go give this to her. And he read it, and he's like, should I? I'm like, yeah, that's why I gave it to her. And he went over there, and it's like, I can't remember the exact words, but I have it written down somewhere. But it's along the lines of, it's like, pretty, so on and so forth. I think you're interesting, but I'll never know your name because I'm too scared to ask kind of. Go give this to her. Come back here and finish playing. All right, so he goes over there, and she had just woken up, and she was in a drink or something, and he walks up, smiles, and he goes, here, hands it to her, and then comes back and sits down and keeps playing cards. Like 3 minutes later, she came over and started talking to him, and they walked off. And I told him, I'm like, don't tell her I wrote it, man. That's yours. You wrote that. Okay. They got married 2 years later. And that poem, last I spoke to him, this is a long time ago, it was framed and it hung in their living room. Because that's that day. Wrote that poem. And they got married. By that point, the time they got married, I didn't really see him or hear of him through the grapevine kind of thing. I'd left school by that point. I got the message where he put it through friends because John knew his brother or something, and John's like, hey man, you remember so and so? He's like, yeah. Do you ever write a poem for him? I said, yeah. He just said to say thank you, they're getting married. And I'm like, wow, really? Wow. Haven't talked to them in a while? No. When they got married, I was probably 20. So that was like 22, 23 years ago. I probably haven't spoken to them in 20 years. Yeah, and most of the people from back in the college days, I don't really speak to anymore. It was a small community college, and I was majoring in film and theater. So there wasn't a lot of when I dropped out of college to just enter into the workforce full time because I got sick of it. Um, tell you how I quit college in a moment. But no, I didn't. John, most of my friends I didn't know at college. I knew outside of college. So I would hang out with people at college playing Magic, and John would show up to play Magic because that was our thing. And everybody knew John. Everybody knew John. And he'd come by, hang out, and pick me up sometimes when I didn't before I had a car, and we'd go take off the rest of the day, spend the weekend crashing out. We'd go around to Magic tournaments. But yeah, most of my friends were outside of college, so I didn't keep up with many. With one exception, a gentleman named Justin, who is the younger brother of Jason, who is my roommate. So I still keep up with him, but that's pretty much the only person. So it's not Jim and Smashley. No, no. Good Lord, they were probably fetuses when I sold. When that happened. So Draven helped the marriage happen. Yes, probably more than one, but that one for sure. But yeah, that was something that happened a long time ago. I still have a copy of the poem after close to it, anyways, because I handed him the original. She kept it, but I later that day I wrote down as much of it as I can remember, so it's pretty close. It's in one of my books of poetry that I've written. Got pages of poetry around here on shelves and stuff. Yeah. I haven't talked to many of them in a while. Oh, what else? I got 14 minutes left, and I'm completely sober, so I can tell you any story you like. Let's see. Oh, I interrupted myself earlier with the rollerblading. So I lived with John and Jason, right? When I first got those rollerblades, I'd kick around on the streets. I talked about that. And our house had a little thin paved walkway that went down to the front step. And then there were 2 steps up, and then there was a glass screen door, and then there was the door. So I got these rollerblades, and it was my first time wearing them. And I put them on, right? Just rolling around a little bit, because I hadn't been on skates in years. And I was much fatter then, and your center of gravity changes. You have to relearn. I have a skating story later for that. But I was kind of bumbling around, and I didn't really go real fast. I was just getting my feet under me. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I feel good on it. I felt confident. So I said, I'm just going to roll on down to the stairs, to the steps, and then I'll stop and take them off where I'd left my shoes. So I come to the curb, step over the curb, roll down the very minor decline to the steps, and then did what everybody does wearing hockey skates. You turn sideways. That is not how you stop in rollerblades. In hockey for years, you turn sideways and dig your skates in. Figure skating and rollerblades have rubber stoppers on the toe and on the heel, and you use those to slow you down. So I went sideways and then immediately went up in the air. And my head went through the glass door, shattered it, slammed against the metal. I lay down on the ground, got cuts in my face. I'm not nothing real serious. Like cuts in my face, glass sticking out, lay on the ground, bleeding in certain areas. The door shattered. I'm just laying there in pain going, ugh. And the door opens and Jason looks at it and goes, dude, I'm watching Simpsons. Keep it down. And it shuts the door and goes back in. I was laying on the ground like, I'm bleeding. I can't move. Dude, I'm watching Simpsons. And then that was it. We didn't have internet or cable or anything. This again, I'm old. We just had like 3 channels. And Simpsons was the one show we'd all watch together, the 3 of us. Because we rarely spent any time together, all of us. I spent a lot of time with John with I, but Jason, he was in a long-term relationship, and he worked 3rd shift, so we didn't get to hang out with him as much. But, dude, I'm watching Simpsons. Jason's a very cool dude. So I get to still follow him on Instagram and Facebook and get to keep up with him and say hi once in a while. When John passed, I called him to let him. He'd already heard. I wasn't able to get to the funeral, and he wasn't going to go. At the time, he was actually down in Atlanta because his girlfriend at the time was graduating or something. So he'd gone all the way down there for that, for her graduation. He's like, back now. But didn't hear how I met John. John owned a card shop in Newport, Tennessee. When we first moved to Tennessee, I moved here too late to get into the college. We moved here, I had to have signed up several weeks early because I went to high school in North Carolina, and right after that summer I graduated, my family moved to Tennessee. So I had to take a semester off and wait till I could start school. So my good friend Mike, I've mentioned several times, lives in Canada, probably best friend since like the second grade. Guy who taught me D&D, got me playing D&D. Mike and I were chatting very soon after that, saying that he and his friends had found this game called Magic the Gathering that had just come out recently. You should check it out. Like D&D with cards. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll check that out. So I'd found a couple, like a Walmart or something like that, a few basic packs. And we were driving through Newport one day, and I see a sign for a comic shop that says, "We have Magic the Gathering." I'm like, hey! I didn't have a car. I had a car, but at the time my dad's car was in the shop for like 6 months. So he was driving my car, and I just booked around with my family. I'm like, hey, can we go in there? I'm like, yeah. I went in there and I bought some Magic cards. And then I found out that they had a Magic the Gathering tournament every Friday or Saturday night. So I'm like, I'm going to start going to these tournaments because my dad was off at that time. So he didn't need my car. I'm like, on those nights, I'm going to go to this tournament. I didn't do anything else. I worked at a Pizza Hut at the time. But I told them that I had to have Friday or Saturday off when I got hired. So my mom was like, yeah, I don't care. Go ahead. Don't go out and get drunk or get in trouble and be home at a reasonable time. I'm like, okay, cool. I was like 18. So I'd go to these tournaments and start hanging out, and I started making friends with people there. They had a good time. Well, after I'd been going there for a few months at this point, sitting there, the tournament's getting close to running one night, and this guy walks in. And he has glasses on, and he's got red hair, and he's a few years older than me. And he walks in, and I just happened to be near the front door, and I'd never seen him before. And I looked at him, I said, "Are you here for the tournament?" And he just stops and looks at me with a look of, almost like a regal, I'm better than you, look, goes, "I am the tournament." And then without putting his head down, he's held his nose up, just kept walking by. And I was laughing, and so was a guy named Chad who I was talking to. I'm like, who the hell's that? He goes, that's John, man. He owns the card shop. I'm like, really? So he owned the card shop, but he was a manager at a Hardee's. He had been for 7 years. And I ended up chatting with him that night, and I bought some of his old D&D books that he had in his shop that no one else bought, so he was glad to make some money off that stuff. And we started chatting and such, and I started hanging out there. At that time, he ended up switching jobs, so he started hanging out there more often, and he had an office in the back and had a pull-out couch in it. So sometimes he'd just crash back there and watch TV. He didn't feel like going home. And the day I knew I really wanted to hang out with him is I probably hung out and chatted him. I thought he was a cool dude for about 2 or 3 weeks, so 2 or 3 tournaments. And then I got a job helping at my dad's work, doing janitorial work 1 or 2 nights a week. But we would come back through. He was second shift, so by the time we were coming back through Newport, it was like midnight. And we're driving by there after a week or so, and I see John's car out front, and the lights are still on inside. The open sign wasn't on. I'm like, hey, Dad, pull in there real quick. So we carpooled. He pulled in. I'm like, I'm going to see if John's here. So I've got some money on me. I'd love to buy some cards and get some ready before the next tournament. Oh, yeah, I don't. Pulls in, and I knock on the door, and I see John come out, and I'm like, hey, man, what are you doing here? He goes, I sleep. This is where I found out. He goes, I sleep back here. Sometimes I hang out. I'm like, okay, can I buy some cards? He's like, yeah, come on in. So I came in, bought some cards at the register, and I paid for those. And I'm getting ready to leave, and I'm like, all right, man, I'm heading out. You heading home later? He's like, nah, I'm going to stay and see if the Donner Party makes it this time. All right, cool. And I go to turn to leave, and I stop, and I'm like, I look at him, and I just started laughing. And he started laughing because I got the joke. And it wasn't something that most people got, his humor. And I was like, that's funny, dude. That's really good. I like that. And so the next time I came, he made a point of seeking me out and talking, and we started chatting more and all that kind of stuff. And we started hanging out. My nickname for after that, we started hanging all the time. My nickname became the Chunky Sidekick. And that all happened one day because we were driving around, hanging out, doing something, and I was like, dang it, man, I feel like I'm just your chunky sidekick. And everybody thought that was hilarious, and it stuck. I didn't plan on that. But I said, I just feel like your chunky sidekick sometimes. He's like, you are now. That sticks. That was it from that point. What was the joke? He said that he's going to stay and see if the Donner Party makes it this time. The Donner Party is an old American history thing. No, you're fine. Old American history. The Donner Party was a group of settlers that were trying to go west, and they left too late in the year and didn't have enough supplies. So they got caught in the blizzard in the lands between developed eastern United States and the new West. And they got caught in a pass, and they got caught in the snow, and they had to resort to cannibalism to stay alive. For the few people that try to make it out, cannibalism was all that they had. So the Donner Party is famous for that, and a lot of times people referencing cannibalism will mention the Donner Party. So he said, I'm going to stay and see if the Donner Party makes it this time. And I knew the history of that because I liked American history at that point, and I read a lot into it. And he was tickled that I got that because most of the people that hung out with us were younger than us. I was one of the older guys that came to the tournaments. So most of the young kids didn't get that. He got a kick out of the fact that I got the joke, and I found it. We started hanging out a lot after that. Best friends for many years. Miss John. Help, I out Pizza the Hut. I don't quite know what that means. But yeah. John was a klepto. John was a hardcore klepto. John had his steel in hand. He always kept one hand in his pocket. I was like, why do you keep one hand in your pocket? He goes, because that's the hand that's shaking. This is my stealing hand. This one's calm, cool, and collect. That was the first time I'd seen those words put together. That became a running gag. I'm calm, cool, and... Oh, he was a kender, but he knew what he was doing. John was good. Very long time. But yeah, John was a bit of a klepto. I'll tell you some of those stories next time. Remind me. This time I said remind me from my wife's and I first tournaments or conventions. But if you can remember, maybe next time we do one of these, I may do one again in a couple weeks. It's good to do them on the evenings like this because it's a shorter stream. I think I'd have a hard time doing 4 or 5 hours of this. But again, if it's something happens here in the near future where everything goes like it's supposed to, if you didn't know this, I'm currently working with my company to move to a part-time schedule, which will allow me to start doing this more as an actual part-time occupation, splitting it between this and my regular job. So should that happen and I get a schedule that works, I will start streaming for longer periods more often. And I'm still going to stream a lot of Minecraft, but I will stream other stuff as well. A lot like more traditional streamers. You get in, pick a game, play it for several days, burn through it in 2 or 3 days, and then go on to something else. I'll do some of that, but there will always be some Minecraft going. I'll have 1 or 2 days that's always Minecraft. And then I'll have some days where I do other stuff, and Merge Worlds will still be there. And that'll give me a chance to do also more videos, more things that I can put out, such as best of clips from streams. I've had a lot of people ask for those, but it's hard to find time to sit down and pull out a 3 or 4 hour stream and watch it looking for the clips. So having a schedule where I'm actually able to do that, I've already talked with my wife about it because I made sure she and my family were okay with me taking this step, and they were. I will have an actual work schedule for myself here. So wrapped around, I will have on this day I do these type of videos. This is what I work. So I'm going to start. You'll start seeing more videos and more streaming. Tutorials, of course. Definitely, I'll start doing more tutorials and probably other Minecraft things as well. Maybe even other games, Subnautica and things like that for people that need them if there isn't already stuff that's there. But I'll just start streaming other games and maybe some more video things, kind of like the cheat games we were doing. maybe definitely some more D&D content. Doing that will allow me to have a more, this is D&D day, I can focus on that. So hopefully that all goes very, very well. I should hopefully know something in the next week or two, fingers crossed, and I will get to spend more time with you guys and providing more, hopefully, content that you enjoy. Here's to hoping, right? But that said, it is midnight where I am, and I have to be back here in 9 hours to stream, and I still have to set up the Subnautica stream. So I am going to call that a day. Thank you all very, very much for coming by and hanging out with me today. Let me tell my stories and all of that. So it was a lot of fun. I look forward to doing this again in the future. I will try to dig up some specific stories and tales to tell. I will make sure I have some content for the next time we do this as well. But I hope you had a good time too. If so, please click that like button. Make sure you hit subscribe before you go and slap the heck out of that little bell signal or notification so you'll know when we're streaming and when videos come out. We'd also love to have you in our Discord channel. If you go to my website, onlydraven.com, there's a button at the top you can click on that'll take you right in there. We'd love to have you. And while you're there, lots of other stuff on there you might like. My streaming schedule, for example, my current one. Work schedule changes, I'll have to update that. But streaming schedule's there, links to all my tutorials and videos, all my Merge Worlds D&D podcast stuff is there. The ODG store for some cool ODG merch. There's a lot of it. Check it out. And all my socials. I'd love it if you wouldn't mind following me on a couple of my socials. I'm definitely trying to build up a bit of a following, specifically on Instagram and Twitter. So if you have either of those and don't mind, I would greatly appreciate it if you would follow me on those. The links for all that stuff is down in the description of these videos as well. But tomorrow should be fun. You've never seen Subnautica? Oh, you'll love it. I've streamed it a few times, but they've made a bunch of changes. So we're going to start fresh again. It should be cool. As always, special thank you to all of my members. Those of you who are part of the members, Draven's Dragons membership program. Definitely your continued support is what's letting me take steps like this to be able to do this more often, provide new content, and to have more time and more equipment to be able to spend into the channel. So thank you so much for that, as well as all of the amazing people who have been donating so much. Definitely those donations help an ungodly amount, and I do my best to put that back into the channel and the business as a whole, hopefully give it back as much as I can. So thank you again so much for your donations and your continued. And as always, an extra special thank you to my moderators for all of the phenomenal work they do, which is way more impressive than the work that I do. And I appreciate all the time they spend. Get a chance? Give your moderator a digital hug. Digital! All right, guys. You guys have yourselves a wonderful night, and I will see you, some of you hopefully, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for some Subnautica. That was a great day.